It's been a long one, and I need someone so high. Pull up and
wash away the toxicity.
With my brush on, and yeah, the candles moving, and yeah, the covers moving, and it's time for you to join the current. Here we go again. Critically drinking, stay thirsty, my friend. Burning the clouds and hoping never.
Hustle and grind culture is another version of it. I can sleep when I'm dead. You'll be dead.
It's showtime. Come in and have a drink with the whole crew. Come on then, join the panel or chill from the chat. Do it how you wanna do. The misfit thoughts keep the whole chat lit. Ooh, and soon you'll be a part of it too. So come back again, my friend, or we'll come find you. Here we go again.
What's up?
Critically drinking, stay thirsty, my friend. Burning love and hoping never. If it does, oh, we'll be back again. Now let's make one thing clear. Because of you, that's why we're here. You give us life, you give us love. That is why we want you get to our heart. Come and join the show, cause we need you to grow. So pull up a chair and share with us all of the things you know. Here we go again. Critically drinking, stay thirsty, my friend. Burning the love and hoping never. If it does, oh, we'll come back again.
And like the song say, hey, don't, I will come find you. Easy way. With a hard way.
Amazing.
I got my own platform. If I got something to say, I hit my live button, ho.
You know, I have to get these banners and stuff down. It's just ridiculous. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Welcome to Critically Drinking. I'm your host, Rashawn. Let me just welcome everybody in that was here. Nova Rain was first. Little Sis was second. Hello, hello. Risa Neal, third. And y'all fourth. Happy Friday. And Nate, fifth. Good morning, everybody. Now, welcome to Foolishness Friday. We may actually have a topic. I don't know if anybody's going to pull up to chit chat, whatnot, have anything to get off their chest, say, talk about, vent, whatever. But the space is open, the chat is pinned, and we'll see what happens. So until then, I will probably see if YouTube is working with StreamYard again yet. Because I'm going to show you guys something until some people show up. Because I thought it was foolishness. We talked about this a little bit earlier in the week, or it might have been last week. The time slips away from me. I love you, Nia. Hey, what up, Bree? All right, so I am going to pull this up because Yellow was making fun of me, saying, "Well, I understand. If your shoes don't match your belt, people should be looking at you funny." I love you, Inya. Mara loves everybody. It's all love. It's all love. So he was making fun of me for being an indiscriminate dresser. Fair enough. But I want to show y'all how some of these requirements, and this is a couple of years old. Most of you have probably seen this. What is up, JP? We just chilling. just chilling today for a couple of hours, few hours, 1 hour. Who knows? We'll see what happens. But the link is pinned. Anybody wants to come up, chit chat, talk, vent, the floor is yours. So, in the meantime,
let's check him out. He must be between 30 and 45, financially stable, no kids, 5'10" or taller, no hookups or flings, ready to settle down, no roommates, no smoking, must love dessert, and can't be anti-sugar. What's the deal with the desserts?
Well, okay, that's a really important one because I'm the founder and CEO of my own frosting company. And so it's an all-natural gourmet frosting. And so I make a lot of desserts. And I do a lot of, trade shows and making desserts.
Right.
So he has to like dessert. If he doesn't like dessert, it's totally a deal breaker.
Right,
a deal breaker.
Totally a deal breaker.
Okay.
This is what I meant
But
when I talked
there's
about
some
crazy
more
standards.
requirements, so let's take a look at these. Must be honest, reliable, sweet and kind, quick-witted, romantic, must love food, must pay on the first date, no flowers on the first date, must be a
Bree,
social
no flowers
drinker,
on the first
and
date.
must never wear sweatpants. What?
I mean, those are basics.
Those are basics.
He can't wear sweatpants.
No, the last guy I dated, we fought all the time because he wanted to go to Starbucks in sweatpants.
I'm in a chair
and
without
go
arms.
to breakfast in sweatpants, and no one should be doing that.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, well, we got some more requirements, but we don't have no more room. Guys, let me get one of the pillars over here. Okay. All right, here we go. Let's see. Must be adventurous, must be humble, must be spontaneous, must be a planner.
Must be spontaneous
can't
and
be
a planner.
Self-centered, can't be cocky, must love dogs, can't own a dog from a breeder, can't be jealous of her dog, and can't own a cat. The hell, what? You can't you can't have a dog from a breeder?
Yeah, I mean, listen, Steve, there's so many dogs out there that are in need of homes that are sheltered dogs, and they're really sweet, great dogs. So any guy that's going to spend a ton of money to buy a purebred dog, it just says something about his character. I don't like
Yeah,
that.
he wants
Says something about his character.
But he can adopt.
She wants RoboCop.
Okay. Okay, he can't be jealous of your dog?
So the last guy I dated, he admitted after a few months that he was jealous of my dog, and he was kind of mean to my dog in the beginning. And he said that I gave my dog more attention than I gave to him.
And it's probably true.
Well, I mean, my dog never fought with me.
That's because your dog ain't got to live up to all them damn requirements.
Right.
Your
What does Sandra say about your character?
Woo! Man, damn, glad I'm a dog. We're not done yet.
She's not the only one that thinks like this.
In fact, yeah. Let's bring all of them in here. Bring both of them over. I love it. You ready? Must be in shape. Can't have six-pack abs. Can't have six-pack abs. Can't be too skinny. Can't have a runner's physique. Can't be stronger than me. Can't be obsessed with sports. Can't be a hunter. Can't own a boat. Can't be a gamer. Can't be materialistic. I'm out.
Man.
That would be out.
Who isn't out?
Be materialistic. What does that mean? He can't want anything?
He can't want to buy things all the time.
Can you talk to my wife?
Probably.
Okay, let's keep going. Must respect a gluten-free diet. Can't be too close to family and friends. Must open doors for me. Must be willing to move someplace warm. Must love traveling. Can't brag about.
Must love it and can't brag about it.
Oh, we can go there, but you can't tell nobody. You shut your mouth. You telling everybody
I get
was
that.
in Arizona for.
That makes sense.
That's
must
reasonable. Maintain eye contact. can't be a party boy, can't be intimidated by me. Favorite season what?
Favorite season cannot be
Favorite season
fall.
cannot be fall.
She doesn't want a person.
There's more. We ran out of pillars. He
Can't be close to family and friends. Not too close.
So
Too
the
close.
thing about
You can be
that
close,
is that
but not.
every guy I've gone
Too
out with
close.
that says their favorite season is fall is they're so typical. It's everyone's favorite season is fall. And so then they want to go pumpkin picking and apple picking and to haunted houses and it's just
Maybe
like
we
it's
are
watching
basic.
the same movie and knowing the ending
'Cause I
every
like fall
single
too.
time.
Do you like quiet time?
I do.
You're going to have a lot of Heather,
Yeah.
you're young, you're smart. This is a lot, man.
Yes.
You got to go. See, if you're looking for a guy with all of that,
Yeah.
I don't know that he exists.
No.
She
no.
wants herself.
He's got to exist. You don't
Okay.
think so?
Our preferences
Well,
are
let me
crazy.
ask you something. Been 8 years.
I've dated a lot.
Oh, you're a
since
spring girl?
then.
Right. Okay. So let me ask you. You got another 8 you want to do just like?
No,
What's up,
no,
Yeah.
no, I don't.
Okay. Then do you understand what I'm getting at? I'm just trying to help you, Heather.
Yeah.
I'm mad y'all picking yes on this poll. What's wrong with y'all?
I'm sorry.
What's wrong with y'all?
Because
wrong
I
with
just
you
looked
people?
over there and I forgot I must maintain eye contact.
Oh man. Okay, so that was one lady. I know that's not indicative of all women, but that was one lady's, in my opinion, insane standards and expectations of men. I think a lot of people have fallen into this shopping list of what a man is supposed to have and not have. We went through that a little bit last week. Wednesday. It was Wednesday of last week that we had this conversation. I remember that because Rico was here. Oh, that is terrible. Y'all really think people whose favorite season is fall are extra basic? Out of 6 polls, 4 of you think yes. I need all of you to find a driveway that's on an incline. Park your car at the top of the incline. I need you to take the parking brake off. Run down to the bottom of the incline and just lay in front of it. All right? That's what I need all of you to do who think people who like fall are extra basic. That's what I want all of you to do. Yeah, but you love us. Yeah, you back to stir up some more. Hey, the link is in the chat. It's open forum, whatever you guys want to talk about. If nobody has anything in specific, I'm going to bring up a Abba and Preach video that talks about a man's standard. That lady had a lot of standards. But I want y'all to hear what a man's standard sounds like.
Ideal woman. Well, first of all,
Hold up.
Cobra, what's your ideal woman? Well, first of all, of age,
Right?
alive, cisgendered, consenting.
You see, you hear the difference in the standards already? She just has to be alive. She has to be legal. She has to consent. Like, very reasonable. That's a person.
I like that has to even be stated. Of age, alive, consenting, cisgendered.
He wants to be safe.
You're not open to no cisgendered. They cisgendered.
Non-related.
You said non-related.
Non-related. Don't want a relative.
All those good points. All those points are valid. All those points. All those points are valid.
That's facts. Some of you are right now watching our videos alongside with your cousin, and they also your significant other.
Bing, 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 bing.
Hey, listen, incest is wincest. Ain't that what they say? Let's go.
And at least a 4 or above on the good looks scale. Like if she's a 6 on her best day, kind of thing. Preferably someone who is 21 and up.
To me, that's legal. 21 and up is legal. 18 and up is not.
That is someone that knows.
6 on
No,
her best day.
I appreciate him.
Hey, my man actually knows how to rate out of 10. Because I Go ahead, Priest, because I got to rant afterwards.
I appreciate him.
Okay.
This motherfucker knows where he stands,
Uh-huh.
and he knows where he's going.
Okay.
Maybe it's general, but up to now, there was nothing that was outlandish in what he said. There was nothing that was out of place. There was nothing that was out there was like, this is unattainable. It was like, no, I'm gonna name those things, but that's what I want. And bruv, a lot of people out there are not aware.
High value, man.
And are not as concise as this dude right here.
True.
So
True.
I'm not mad at that.
He's fishing in the right pool.
This is a personal pet peeve of
Alive,
mine.
legal,
why we have an out of
consenting,
10 scale
non-relative,
for you.
and
A
a
5
round
is
of
a 0.
4 on the attractive
To just
scale.
do it out of
He was
5.
very reasonable.
I'm so sick of tired of people like, oh, they're ugly. They're a 5 out of 10. No, bitch, that's average.
That's average.
That's average. The reason why I like what this guy says, he's at a 4. He said, listen, she can be a bit on the butter side, but if she tries a little bit, she's a little bit above average. Yay! That's a reasonable scale. Because I want to ask you, what's a 2 out of 10 to you? Because there's 2 out of 10s.
Oh,
There's some zeros too. Stephen Hawking, yay! God rest in peace.
All right, man. I'm
That's
closing this
a
poll.
0.
Man. You guys are evil.
There's some 1s out there, 2s, 3s.
You guys are
But nobody
evil.
ever want to say that. Everybody, you ask them, oh, what are you? And if they want to say average, you know what their number is?
7. 7 is 0.
For some people.
5
Them locks are a
5
1.
is below
That's
0.
Yay!
6 is 0.
On a bad day,
7
a 2
is average.
workable.
8
Wow,
is ugly.
Rico.
Everybody's a 9.
No, their scales don't make no goddamn sense.
Did I nail it on the scale?
Yeah, you did.
That's some of y'all. That's your scale. No, a 0 is a 0, and a 4 is okay.
He said, I want a 4.
I appreciate this
He said,
moment.
a 4.
Shout outs to you, my.
He looked in the mirror. He said, you deserve a 4.
But I would still take you.
He said, you deserve a 4.
That means that he is aware of the scale of the world.
And you know the worst part about this all thing?
Oh no,
Most
the
of y'all
lock
looked at this guy and said, yeah, 4 makes sense. Because he's aware.
It's
Some of y'all out here
homosexual
look delusional
season.
and
This
Oh,
guy is he's more aware than a lot of you out
He's
there.
self-aware.
And that's-
shout outs to him.
Shout outs to you, my guy.
Yeah.
When you're balding, that's tough. It's even tougher when
Oh, I
people
like this
notice
little
because your
ad.
skin's so
They
smooth. And I
crap
want
on
you to
Fresh
have
and Fit.
skin as smooth as Myron's bald spot with today's sponsor, TH.
That's so dirty, man. That was so petty. But they go on to probably keep ranting about that. But I just thought the first part was cute. Dude, I guess he went viral. I didn't notice it. I don't spend a lot of time in social media as far as outside of streaming on YouTube. I don't spend a lot of time like looking at TikTok or Facebook. I don't spend a lot of time there. So I didn't know that he went viral. And I guess there probably are several lanes of virality. His bathroom cabinet full of antibiotics. That's messed up. Yeah, from February 15th through June 10th. Man, that's dirty. Y'all wrong about that poll. I don't know. That kind of made me feel away. We are not extra basic. Forget all of y'all for thinking that. Who voted no? Those are my people. Who voted no on the poll? Are people whose favorite season fall extra basic? Who voted no? Because those are my people. All the rest of y'all are fakes and phonies. And since it's Foolishness Friday, I'm calling all of y'all out. I need to know who was with me. Okay, my little sister was with me. Who else was with me? Oh, Nova Rain said, you're not extra basic. You're huge basic. Well, I'm calling out Nova Rain. Okay, Nova Rain, you think you cute. You think you with your little jokes. And you think extra basic. I'm huge basic. Forget you. Forget you, Nova. That's why you have to, I'm trying to think of something corny. That's why you have a sheep pick. Now I'm quick. My favorite besides spring. Major basic. Wow. What's your SMV score? I'll tell you my SMV score. I'm so glad you asked.
I don't care what your Alpha Male podcast folks told you.
That certainly is one big self-assured ninja.
Well, our shorty's a dime.
I'm looking for a dime. That's top of the line.
Yeah, man. Shorty is a 10. It's 10s over here. It's always 10s over here. 10s across the board, man. If I was in the Olympics and they just walk people out, everybody would just hold up the 10 signs. At crowd, 10s, judges, 10s. They would just like, it would just shut it down. If peopling was an Olympic sport, perfect 10s, perfect 10s. So, you know, general basic, enhanced basic, man, forget all of y'all. Forget all of y'all. Rashawn is extra basic, regular, mediocre. Dang, Rico. Oh, let me. You gonna make me go back to the old school? Damn, Rico, man. Okay, Rico, I see how you doing. It's time to attack the chat. It's time to attack the chat. Okay. First of all, I need Mitch. I can't remember who Mitch was. MICH something. I can't even remember that person who talked about your curtains. Who talked about you having those dusty half curtains on your door. I wish they were back in here because I need some backup. Y'all ain't gonna be jumping me from the chat. I was gonna say basic, but Rico killed it. At least he's not acidic. You know what?
I hate ninjas.
I hate ninjas. I hate ninjas. And I'm giving a warning to all you suckers.
Don't get caught. Don't get yourself on my
All of y'all about to get blocked. I'm about to block everybody out of here. Oh my God, the reckoning. And plain, I'm playing too. Butterscotch basic. Y'all. Okay. I see how this is going down. It's Foolishness Friday, and y'all came with the foolishness. I get it. Y'all trying to live up to the name. I'm gonna need y'all. I'm not supposed to be the recipient of the foolishness. The foolishness is supposed to be directed outward. Outward projection of foolishness, not towards me. Not towards me. Keep your foolishness to yourself if it's about me. I should only be, spoken highly of. That's right. These people. It be your own people, man. It be your own people. Give me a second. It be your own people. Bam. Got you on there. But, so, since nobody hit the white folk, no seasoning plant. You know what, Rico? While you over there hanging out with that man that Mr. Rucker been calling zesty and sus. So we're gonna talk about people. We about to talk about the company you've been keeping. Who's this guy that you've been hanging out with? Rico. Yeah, we're gonna make fun of you. Because you ain't basic. But you hanging out with some strange people. Yeah, you and your little friend, what's his name? Peso, man. I don't know who that is. So I can't really talk about him with any knowledge. But man, Mr. Rucker been going at him pretty hard. Pause. But Mr. Rucker did clip him saying some weird stuff, and you be right up in there, Rico. So I'm making fun. I'm talking about you, buddy. Yeah, Rico. Hanging out with weird people. Hanging out. I love to diversify the community. But no, honestly, I really don't know what the beef was about. I couldn't follow the videos. I don't know who the Peso Man is or his content. And I know Mr. Rucker had a couple of good clips, but man, I don't know what's going on with that. I don't know what's going on. But I know he's got Mr. Rucker's got a live going on right now, so I am curious. He been going after people. Anyway, all of y'all are basic. See, basic people be in the chat. See, I'm not basic. You're basic. That's why y'all in the chat and y'all didn't hit the link. It's only basic people scared to hit the link. Like Rico. Like JP. And JP, Rico is a lovable passport bro. That is the truth. He is a lovable passport bro. That is crazy. He's one of the first. You know what? When I think about his age, Rico's probably the very first passport bro. Probably the very first. Because, he met his first wife in the Philippines right before Vietnam, right? Then his second wife from Manila. Then the third wife was from El Salvador. Fourth wife is from the backwoods of Russian, like the Russian province of I don't know Russian provinces, but Rico be, he be finding him. Yeah. He ain't met her yet. He ain't met her yet, but it's Rico. It's Rico. We got about 3 years. Oh, no, let me quit. Let me quit joking on Rico. His wife is nice. His wife is nice. He's your passport uncle who reminds you that you can never qualify for the women he sees, but he never gets a broad. And they're fucking my game now. Get off my damn lawn. Leave my hair alone. Now, Rico is funny. Potty mouth, but funny. No, I'm joking. I'm joking. No, I'm messing with him. Yeah, she's she's so nice. She's lining up the next wife. That's dirty. Oh man, but she do be getting on him. I love seeing Rico get in trouble. When we were doing the show together and I see him get in trouble. Oh, that was so much fun. But yeah, so if you guys are not hitting the link, then I do have something else I can do. Bye. Or we can just chit chat. I can ask you guys questions and see what you guys think about certain things. I am going to ask you all this. It's not foolishness, you know. I don't typically deal in foolishness. It's a rare vintage. But let me add this as a banner. I saw something yesterday that made me want to ask this question. Got another one behind it. I know JP is a culinary nista, but what inspires y'all? What are the things that inspire you? And what kicks your passion into gear? What kicks your passion? Like what gets you motivated to I really love doing this? Oh my God, I want to hit the link, but Lord have mercy. What you think of Ja foolishness? Now, Ja Morant is an idiot. We talked about him on Wednesday. Yes, open topic. Do it. Ja Morant is an idiot. We talked about him a little bit. He, guy, 2-parent household from the suburbs, went to nice schools, but he wants to play gangster. I knew he was playing gangster. When you go in the club and you show a gun like this, that's how you pull up a gun? No, man. That was embarrassing. I mean, I don't care how long he gets suspended. I think they said they were going for 50 games or 50 days, whatever. I don't care. Once you hold a gun like this, I don't care what happens to you. I can't. 13 watching and 10 likes. Like the stream within 30 seconds and you'll get intense nightmares for several weeks. You know what? I'm going to go with Nova.
I know. I'm sorry. But this is what we're going to have to do, folks. This is what we're going to have to do. One, I want you guys to make sure you get the likes up, hit the like button, because we want to get into this.
Like is an umbrella term. So you can like any aspects. Like you might like the you might like the way they like things.
Like so like him. Like you and like for me. So like people. So like we like.
Nova said like the video, so like the video. He's a very basic person who says very basic things. So he said a basic statement. Like the video. That's so basic. It's so every stream somebody's doing this. Like the video. There's 13 people watching and 10 likes. Like the stream. Like. I love writing and singing. Okay. I do. Well, speaking of writing and singing, my sister is a good writer and singer. But I suck at both. Well, I'm okay at writing. I don't enjoy it though. But writing and singing, those are your passions. That's what what inspires you. Cool. Being messy does inspire us. I have troll in me. My little sister is a troll. Complete troll. You smoke cigars. I have smoked cigars. I don't typically. I don't like keeping up with the humidor. I don't like maintaining keeping the wood. That was just annoying. It was like it just gave me a new set of tasks and new chores. Keeping cigars gave me new chores. I don't want new chores. I don't want a hobby that comes with chores. Rashawn got an issue with gun etiquette. Yeah, it was ugly. Come on, man. Come on, Rico. If one of your boys was like, hey, man, we about to go out here, and they was like, well, come on. And we got JP in the building. How you doing, JP?
What up, Butterscotch Bear? How's your spirit?
Doing well this day. How are you?
I am fantastic. I heard you was trying to test my gangster. You're going to pull up John Morant knowing he out of Memphis, Tennessee. You're going to start calling people out in the chat because we was coming towards you. You said that it was Foolishness Friday. Yeah. I thought we was fooling on you. Am I mistaken? We're not fooling on Rashawn?
No,
I read it wrong.
Never fooled on Rashawn. Oh. That's never the orientation. It's always away from Rashawn. The foolishness is supposed to leave me and go to other people. It's not supposed to come back.
But if we're being foolish, we're projecting our foolishness off onto one, and you are the host. Why wouldn't it be you first? We're supposed to pick on your friends for you?
No, you're never supposed to pick on your friends.
Okay.
What up, Yellow? You are missing a little bit of foolishness. Sucre. Oh my God. Sucre. That is hilarious. I'm gonna have to make a Sucre Yellow mashup. People need to see that. Oh my God. Because Yella is Sucre, so tough. I enjoy writing because it keeps me focused. It brings peace of mind for me. My family is what inspires me, and all you people here to know my writing can heal myself and others helps a lot. Okay. That is an inspiration, and I can see why that would stoke your passions. Definitely. Mistaken.
I like how you set up because her thing was so big. I saw you. You was like, dang, that's I'm too short. I was just like, I'll wait.
Yeah, but JP, absolutely. The foolishness is never supposed to be on the host.
Oh,
that's a party foul. That's a party foul.
Oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir. I I'm not much of a partier. I throw parties. I don't actually get to attend a party. This is the thing. When you're a culinarian, when you're someone who hosts parties, even if it's just at your house, you don't actually get to enjoy the function. You're working the entire time. So I don't know nothing about being at a party as a guest. I apologize that I overstepped or I went the wrong way. Please forgive me, y'all. Chat. I'm so sorry.
It's quite all right. Come on. Now let me ask you a question. If you saw a guy, of course, there's no reason for him to have a gun. There's no threat. But you saw him and he's like, JP, look at my gun. And he did that. What would you think about that guy?
Pew, pew.
Pew, 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 pew. I don't know why. There was something about the way he held that gun. I'm like, I don't care how long he gets suspended. To answer Yella's question. I mean, not Yella's question, Rico's question. No, I can't care about John Morant anymore. That was just terrible. I don't know. I don't understand wanting to be involved in that lifestyle. When you have that much money, just signed over $200 million contract.
Okay. Let's get into it for just a brief moment with your happy self. Man, when Butterscotch get mad, look at it. It get all frustrated. Anyway, so more melty like, yeah, girls. Butterscotch melts in your mouth. Yes, honey. Okay, anyway. What is John Morant? Like 12 and a half on the adult Richter scale?
He's like 23, 24.
Okay. And so has he ever had money a day in his damn life?
He had his first contract, the rookie contract. He's had money. And his parents, he didn't come from the streets.
I'm not saying that he didn't.
Like, he was decent.
Came from, okay, but yeah. Okay, can we talk about how Memphis decent and other place decent is not the same type of decent either?
I mean,
middle class in your state and middle class in other states, or well-to-do is very much dependent on your state's economical status.
I mean, that's fair,
right? But he still has the
South Carolina. He's actually not from Memphis. He plays in Memphis. Oh,
that's even the Low Country got it worse than Memphis got it. They are less likely to listen. Okay, here's the whole thing. Why do we figure that a 23-year-old with $30 million isn't going to have peer pressure?
I mean, peer pressure. Who your peers are? Other basketball players.
According to whom?
According to his career, those are his peers. You're talking about the friends he grew up with,
right? That's whom he considers his peers. We on the outside may call that something different. He considers that to be his peer group, the people that he is supposed to have the same mindset as. We're expecting his mindset to grow because his income level changed. That's the only thing that really happened here. Like, yes, he's in the NBA now, but that means his income level changed. He was a professional in college. He was a professional young already. No one changed his mindset when he first got his contract and told him you got to behave better. Now this, and this. If they didn't start doing it then or make it a part of it, why now is it expected of him when it wasn't just a bit ago?
Now, my issue is economics are not the
That's the point, Rico.
But that's not the only thing that changed. Like, number one, first of all, we're assuming that he didn't have proper parenting. Like, because proper parenting would tell you that as you reach certain levels of attainment, there are certain things and expectations. Like you don't have teaching.
Brother. You can have all the teaching in the world. If you decide to go against what it is that your parents taught you, who gonna stop you? We say
if you go
we
against,
say that.
Right. But again, if you have the teaching, at some point, if you have teaching and you go against it, there's a problem. Like, there's a problem with that. Then he gets into the NBA. He has coaches. They have trainers. They have ownership. They have management. They have whole rookie symposiums. They have a lot of information. So if we're going to say we're overlooking all this information he has access to, the money, the advisors, the agents, there are too many people that should have some level of influence to give him the young and dumb. All of the people in sports, at some point, we can't give them the young and dumb. There's too much access.
I don't actually mean to give him the young and dumb. What I mean to say is whatever his personality was set at before he got into the NBA is what his personality was set at. They didn't expect him to change it when they gave him the first contract. Now, all of a sudden, they expect it to be different in the second when he's able to do something different.
Can you repeat that?
They didn't expect him to change when they gave him the first contract, right? They knew
but he did change.
How?
He changed for the worse. He's leaning into ignorance.
Why do we say that instead of saying the money only highlighted the issue? Like your sister's thinking that she is anonymous to me, saying something about my teeth is going to offend me when I don't really care. I've been on YouTube long enough and had plenty of people talk about my teeth, but I could say mean things about you, but that would piss off Rashawn, and I don't want to do that.
Now she's going at you.
Inside the boundaries.
Hey, listen, she going at you for whatever reason. So, hey, listen.
Well, she figures that she can troll because it's okay to troll. You said she is a troll and you have troll in you. Why would I try to stop her from that?
I'm not saying you got to try to stop her. I'm just saying you said I wouldn't say anything back. I'm saying you don't have to limit what you say back.
No, what I'm doing is making the example that's the same thing here. She is who she is and has always been. A certain level of anonymity gives her the opportunity to do other things, though. But John Morant is who he is, always has been. When they gave him the first contract, we're looking at him sideways because he's moving like this, because he's got money, more money. But the reality is he was always this person.
What's this person? Let's identify that.
Someone who will hold a gun like this and think that it's okay, right? Who will brandish a weapon on IG and think that that's okay.
I mean, right? What's the title? What's the label for that type of person? Because that's not gangster. So he's not being a gangster. What is that?
Is it getting? No, it's not gangster. It's more like immature, unevolved, childish, diminutive in nature, small of stature for someone so big of character, so to speak. We want to see better of our people, and unfortunately, we don't always get that. But blaming them when we haven't given them, and to say we gave them all the tools, no, we haven't really. Careless is a good answer, Nova Rain. Not being mindful of your impact on other people's relationships, how you can influence someone, those type of things.
With as large amounts of money he is paid, you are expected to rise to the occasion. If you can't, you are lost to. You are lost to the common sense of society. All right, so now this would be a good point. This would be a good point to have. Bree, are you still in the chat? You're probably busy. This is going to be a sidebar conversation. Let's table John Morant for a second.
Heard. Let me grab my coffee.
Because we got Nova, we got Inya. We got Nova, we got Inya. Yella passed through. Bree might have stepped away. Because it was last week. The reason we were having Foolishness Friday this week, because we had a lot of fun last week being foolish. We were irritated, we were aggravated, and we were having catharsis. We were, just teeing off on whatever. So, I guess since Bree and Yella are not available, and I know Candid is working, I'll save that for another time. But we'll have a discussion. When I can get a hold of all of y'all at the same time. But let's come back to Ja, because Bree and Yella are not here, but there's a conversation I need to have with multiple people at one time. But back up, there's the guy. Give me a second, Sean. Give me a second. Boo, 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 boo. Bam.
Put that coffee down. Coffee's for closers only. You think I'm fucking with you?
Oh,
what
hey,
is up, Yella?
baby, look at you. Look at my Sucre. What up, sugar? Sweet Willie, what's going on?
What's going on, JP? What up, bro? Just want to say the next part of the song will spell it out. That's my shout out to JP right there.
That's my
hey, Moisha stand account. Moisha stand account. Hello.
When I saw that, as soon as I heard them describing Sucre and I saw Sucre, I was like, that's Yella. What's his name again? He was watching you. I swear, Yella. He watches your content. That dude, y'all so similar, it's crazy. Is he frozen?
Sucre definitely froze.
Larry in the background.
Oh, Larry Bear, yeah. Okay. All right, cool. So now that you're here, I see Breeze now, so I'm not going to, we were in the Ja Morant thing, but let's talk about that dynamic of that. I know JP said she wasn't giving the young and dumb excuse, but the money and power magnify who people are, which we've seen that. Money, power, clout, attention, they magnify what's inside a person. My thing was, what he's doing is not who he actually is. He's putting on a performance. So if the money is magnifying his desire to perform something, to be popular or whatever, to be hood, to be street, if that's not what he is, that's not where he came from, that's not the life he lived, there's nothing that could have been taught, in my opinion. Like, there's no words that can tell somebody not to chase attention and validation from outside of yourself. I don't think words can do that. That's like a self-discovery.
Do you mean
that
at
I
an
don't
adult
need
age
external
or
validation
in general? Do you mean period or at an adult age?
Because my premise is that we know that he had allegedly, just on assumption, quality parents. He had quality parenting coming up as a child. The formative years were informed and loved and was given attention, which we always say, that's what's important, and produce a human. It's easier to build a boy than it is to fix a broken man. Like, that's the Booker T. Washington or Frederick Douglass, whatever one has said it. If that's the case, what then is there even possible if somebody like him can slide into this? Not from the streets. He had parents. They were middle income. All the things that we say we're striving for to produce a better quality of community and family. If all of that's there, and you've imparted everything you can, but you still slide into ignorance, then what is it all for? And what is even possible?
Okay. I hear you. Can we move back just a bit? Because I think that one of the things is in his raising, in his upbringing, it sounds like his value was placed on his ability to play basketball and not on his critical thinking skills, his ability to be whom he is. It sounds like a lot of his self-worth, self-value is tied up in his sports and how people see him through that lens. And may even be coming, when I said peer pressure earlier, what I meant is what we envision people with money to move like, look like, behave like. And in our community, sometimes that does come with the idea of jaw carrying or someone carrying a weapon or so on and so forth. Does that make sense? Okay. So the first thing to me is that they didn't teach him the value of self. And that's where many of us make this mistake. We teach the value of money. We teach that you need to have a work ethic. We teach that you need to do all these other things. Yet we do not teach that you must value yourself, because even when you got a big ass bag, your bag isn't going to keep you comfortable if you aren't comfortable with whom you are.
I am with you. But there's how do you identify that in a young person that you're raising? Like, how do you notice that trait? Because obviously there's a lapse.
Oh,
like,
attention seeking, you mean? How do you know attention seeking? Okay.
I mean, because again, he's playing a sport, so the attention is kind of built into it. If you're good and you're gifted, the attention is built into it. So how then? Because a lot of us are in the space where a lot of us are saying, again, I'm putting on there, I'm qualifying. We're saying that we want certain things like community, family. The family structure is important, man, woman, child. You know, we're really hitting that drum beat hard. If that's the case, then if we actually do all of the things and produce somebody who's capable of making millions of dollars or hundreds of millions of dollars, and then that they're possibly going to blow it because they want to chase the attention of the street culture, how can we interrupt that?
Okay.
What's up, Marcus?
Hey, Dawn.
And
Shout
Dawn
out,
Frank.
Marcus. I appreciate you coming through early this morning, Marcus. Shout out to Ine too. One of the things, the way that you would tell someone, a child who was attention seeking yet still in sports, is they anticipate that same level of attention at home. They expect you to give them all the same attention that coach, the cheerleaders, and the team gives them. They expect to be exempt from doing certain things because they are the sports player. They are the sport, so to speak. When they begin to embody the sport as their understanding of whom they are in the world, that's when you're going to have issues. We, though, do a lot of putting that into them. We do it by recognizing, Sucre kind of tall, so let's go ahead and get Sucre a basketball, where Butterscotch over here is a little bit more stout, so let's give him a football. Oh, well, this one over here ain't even got a winky do, so let's just go ahead and make her a ballerina. You understand? We are some of the first ones to put these thoughts into our children's heads, so it's up to us to recognize what we can and cannot do in that way. So that's why, from an attention seeking, someone who's in the limelight anyway, they expect the same levels of attention at home. That's going to be the clearest sign that they are attention expecting, at least, if not seeking.
That's some good stuff. Okay, JP with the knowledge. I like it. I agree with you. It's just hard for me because I see if people are producing the outcomes that everybody said that we're trying to get, trying to educate, trying to teach, give them access to opportunity. You do all that and the person blows it. It's like that second or third generation immigrant type thing. You know, we don't care about all the gains that you tried to push us and propel us into. So then it makes us wonder, like, well, why are we currently trying to push towards all these gains if the next generation is just going to blow the bag anyway, or blow the opportunity, or blow whatever it is? You know, or blow the bridges up behind us. Like, they're going to blow something.
Yeah.
Pause.
So when I think about further generations blowing the bag, so to speak, I tend to think about what's her name, who made the hair products, the first black billionaire, I think.
The C.J. Walker?
Yes,
Madam
her
C.J.
daughter.
Walker.
Okay, remember her daughter ended up using all of the money that she was left to basically help fund the Harlem Renaissance. So it may be blowing the bag to some people, but she invested in Langston Hughes, Zora Neale Hurston, the people that we look up to and claim as great today. She doesn't get credit for it because she was the money and not the mental muscle or the body out front. But how come that's not as, I'm not saying that what Ja did is that, by the way, but I'm saying if immigrant children are just putting it into something that maybe their parents wouldn't have put it in, why is that wasting it? Why do we ultimately see, because that's not the way we would have spent it, do we see it as wasting it?
You got any thoughts, Sucre, before I jump in?
No, because I mean, from the way JP presenting it, even as somebody who kind of experienced that sports stuff and being kind of like placed in a different position or placed in a different category within even the ecosystem of the community and school and shit like that, it make a lot of sense with what she's saying. Like it's different parts and it's reasons why, but overall, generally, yeah, JP on the money.
Yeah, there's a question. The gun that Ja had, did he legally or have the license to carry it? And did he do anything with it in a wrong way? Now that I don't have I'll speak for myself. I do not have the facts. But Yellow, go ahead, jump in.
I do have the facts. To the first part of the question, did he legally have the license to carry it? It don't fucking matter. And the second part of the answer, did he do anything with it in the wrong way? Yeah, he was a doofus and he had it in the first place. Yeah, he was a doofus and he had it in the first place. $200 some million dollars. $200 some million dollars, man. It's three people around me bigger than me with guns. Like I'm just saying, like I don't have one. I don't have a registered gun. I don't have one in my house. None. It's some big goon dude who's either of Mexican, Italian, or black descent sitting outside my house, protecting it with his life. That's just it.
I'm in agreement. I think that one of the best examples of how someone with money should move is probably going to be 50 Cent. And it's because 50 got security all around him. And you don't really see them, but you know they there. You're not going to run up on him. You're not going to be like, oh, 50, and not think you're not going to get tackled, right? So that's the thing about it. But again, the other thing we've got to remember is that we as a people are at the new money stage, right? Mm-hmm. The predominant culture, which by the way is no longer the majority, just the predominant culture, they are at the old money stages. And so they're looking down on people with new money. We are all new money looking down on each other with new money. You understand what I'm saying? Like black folks are just getting to the point where a percentage of us are even making millions. You dig? And that's the important thing about it. Like we have to keep these things in mind. We keep comparing ourselves to other cultures when we are our own people, and we need to look at where we are and how far we move forward and if we're moving backwards or not. That's all.
To answer Marcus's question again, because I do not know about the legality, but the second part, did he do anything wrong with it? He did break it looks like he broke team rules by traveling with it. Well, that part was just weird to me. That the rinky dinky dude, his clutch. He was carrying his clutch. That was strange. But I've never seen anybody grip a gun that way that knew how to handle a gun. That's what bothered. I've never seen anybody hold a gun that way that knew how to handle a gun. But did he do anything wrong? The reason he's getting suspended allegedly is because he traveled with it on a team charter. So and from and where he was carrying it, like he was in another state. So I know there are state laws that might, because in certain places you're not supposed to carry guns. So I know New York, I've heard a lot of New Yorkers talk about not being able to carry guns, but he was in Colorado. So I don't know Colorado state laws on guns, but I know him violating the team rules is something that could possibly be. He was on some ninja shit. No excuse. They never should have given your niggas money. I had that clip somewhere. Let me see. Do I still have that clip? Give me a second. Oh, y'all can chill. I'm just see if I still got that. I thought I had it. Yeah, nope, not that one. No, did I get rid of it?
They should have never gave you niggas money. You don't know how to appreciate it.
I just had it in a different spot. Here we go.
One of the ironic things is, who was it? Plaxico Burress shot himself in the leg.
Shot himself in the club.
Didn't he? And didn't somebody else do it recently? Didn't Charleston
woman.
White suit himself too? I swear I remember
Charleston
that being the story.
Somebody did something. Somebody did something similar. I can't remember
Recently.
what it was. Yeah. It wasn't like they shot them. It's in that same vein though. I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I know what you're talking about.
But this is the thing that we were speaking about before, though, which is why do we have a rise of older gangsters, period? Like, why don't we start there? Our younger people think they can be gangsters and have money because we got older gangsters. What happened? What happened?
Yeah,
we got all these older folks who want to,
Yeah.
What did he do?
Yeah.
His doofus gets arrested for being involved in a drive-by shooting.
Why? Shooting who? Why?
I mean,
he fell off. He fell off a long time ago.
Yeah.
I mean, his money might be. I don't know. I just can't imagine.
Yeah, and the league don't show him love like that either. Like, you don't be seeing them roll Sean Kemp out there like that. You know what I'm saying? He ain't like one of the legends that you always see own some shit. You know what I'm saying? Especially since the team he was more popular for is like defunct now. You know what I'm saying? So he didn't really have no career outside of that. So yes, it's possible. But I can't think. I'm gonna have to find that story because I know what you talked about. That was recent.
It's just there, and yet no, we're not saying that they can't or aren't allowed to. We are saying it is not in your best interest when you are worth millions of dollars to be walking around with a gun. First of all, when you're a thousandaire, let's talk about it. Let's be real about it. When you are on YouTube and you have less than 1,000 subscribers, you are already a target of people's attention and watchful eye. And then after that, let's go ahead and say you got millions of dollars. Baby, you're a sitting duck if you are carrying a gun. They are looking for a reason to come. They're looking to come at you, so you have a reason to brandish that gun at them, and they can say, "Look, he threatened me. This player with all this money. You're gonna want to settle out of court, and the corporation, the league is gonna want you to too. Your insurance agencies, every damn body. So it's in your best interest, being the purse, being the fucking bag, to have to pay people, because that's why you got a bag." Pay them to stand in front of bullets and you walk your best life.
So I know you asked did he blow all his endorsements? I do not believe he blew all of his endorsements yet, but I know some people are pulling back from him. I did see one, I believe.
Yeah, I don't think he's gonna lose none that matter though. Like Nike ain't going nowhere. Like whatever his shoe thing is ain't going nowhere.
If he do something else though, the frequency, because I guess he's already been involved in a couple stupid things, man. It don't take much. We gotta remember it's still.
Yeah, but it's been ticky tack though. Like this is the.
But enough ticky tack.
Yeah, this is the clunk. Oh, this ain't ticky tack though. This a clunk on the head, right? You know what I'm saying? I get the image looks ticky tacky. You know what I'm saying? I guess the image look ticky tacky, but that's a bigger deal than everything he's ever done before that combined. You feel what I'm saying? So that's why we gotta understand that at a certain level, you can get away with little ticky-tack shit. You can get away with being a nuisance at some point. This is not him being a nuisance. This is him putting folks in danger, right? So you know what I'm saying? It's a different thing. I don't think, because I know we was kind of I was listening in, he was kind of talking about like who he was raised by. Man, it's a reason why that team is a thing. Like he ain't come from that family. his pops was around in his life doing all that other shit. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's somebody finna be on top of his head about this shit. You know what I'm saying? About this. You know what I'm saying? So I don't see him, you know, these type of things don't double around too much. Like Allen Iverson got caught once with a gun. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like gun, that type of stuff don't really double back too much. You know what I'm saying? Not for pro athletes. You know, right? Not for pro athletes anyway. Now, DUI, you fuck around and get multiple DUIs. You done seen, I done seen multiple DUIs and stuff like that, but gun charges, nah.
I want to ask this question from Duri Meta. They said the second, because we're talking about gun culture. Gun culture is a big thing in the United States. Second Amendment confuses me. It's 2023, not 1783. Time to upgrade the rule book, don't you think? JP, like you were getting ready to address something. Go ahead and make that point, but then I want to come back to this.
What I wanted to do was make this more realistic for people. We live in a world where you yourself are a brand. Your Facebook page doesn't actually have it has your name on it, and everything about you is there. You can be easily found anywhere throughout the internet. When someone hires you for a job, they can look up all of your social media. That is who you are. Each one of each one of those people, folks who are some type of celebrity, are just larger brands than you. So what I'm saying even applies to regular people. We have to be careful about what we put out into the world today, because you can lose a job for what you put on social media. You can, even when we're talking about a $30,000 a year culinary gig or whatever it is, you can lose that job if the corporation says that you are not holding them up in the best light. So that's the thing about it. And we've been this way since at least the last 10 years, if not longer. My children, as long as at least the last 20. So since Facebook has been out here and you've been sharing yourself on Facebook and YouTube specifically, you've made a brand out of yourself. And that's the standard that all these people are being held to. So I just wanted to make the point that we've got to stop thinking that it's just them. It's all of us. It's just bigger for them than it is for us.
Like she's a cheerleader, like a college cheerleader on TikTok, and she worked for a gas station, and she went viral and she became popular because she was the girl at the gas station with all the energy. She was the cheer, like she would be behind the counter and cheerleading. And I can't think what gas station it is, but they fired her because of her basically doing all this in uniform. You know what I'm saying? Her doing this at the job. So they fired her for that, even though that was great damn in a way that was great damn promotion for they particular gas station and franchise. They didn't like how it was, and they fired her, and she went viral. And the girl was upset because it was helping her pay for her college and her cheerleading as well. You know what I'm saying? So she ended up getting another job, but that's the thing. Like, you gotta.
That was the risk she took, not understanding all of it. Like, in someone else's facility. That's how one girl, I think she lost her job at Apple. She was getting ready to make like, I think $150,000 a year. She lost her job bragging about the fact that she was going to work at Apple and how much money she was gonna make. They don't play. It's not about acting up in front of white folks. It's about acting up, period.
Yeah.
Civility. You're not supposed to be out here. What's the word for it? Shucking and jiving on other people's ego. You stunting with your bag is one thing. Stunting on other people who don't have what you have. No corporation wants that because it doesn't look good on them in the end. I digress.
That's kind of a hard line to ride on, because a lot of shit that we see that people getting out here is because of social media. Some of these people get some of these sponsorship deals and some of this shit because of the draw they get on social media. So when you see this person that does certain things on social media, you say, you know what? I like this guy, John Morant. We're going to pay him a bunch of money because I like him. You know what his get down is, even though it seems to have gone a little deeper and seemed to have like slightly, unspiraled a little bit. But you knew what his get down was when you started fucking with him. When Adidas got with Kanye, Like you know what the get down is with these people when you start fucking with them. So then when people just, oh no, he did something and run away, I have a problem with that too. Like when somebody does something and you automatically run away, there's no teachable moment that we're having here because everything is completely operating on social media. As soon as Twitter sees something and Twitter is outraged, now every corporate, all right, man, we gotta pull these contracts, man. They fucking up our money because there's no teachable. Everything is social media. Everything is social media. So we just have to take the good and the bad that comes with it. And like Yella said, hopefully this is the one-off type of thing to where it's like, all right, I fucked up. Let me straighten up. Like that's all you can. To continue dragging this man is not going to help him realize, like, all right, that was fucked up. Let me move on. Like somebody just needs to be in his ear rather than social media dragging this man. Because realistically, whether he lived that life or not, I can see how a teenage kid is growing up and watching some of these players in the league that are aggressive, watching these rap videos, seeing the shit that goes on social media, and then finally get a big ass bag and say, I want to reenact the shit that I saw. Like, I don't see, especially at the age of 23. This man is 23. He's young as fuck. This is the space where he's gonna do dumb shit.
I'm in agreement with you. If you're talking about what you say is true about him being a somewhat upper middle class young black dude, he already feels out of pocket. Whether or not he's a celebrity, I mean, he's a jock, a sports player or not, he doesn't fit in with common black culture around young black men, right? I mean, just because supposed to have a certain amount of money, not have a certain amount of money, move a certain way, those things. So there's already that understanding. So parents who have children in that range have to understand that. And that's why I say you have to teach knowledge of who you are, the value of being you, of being able to soothe yourself, love yourself, and like yourself, despite what happens to you in the world. That is what older generations of black people had to learn, live, and teach. That, and you got to be at least 2 to 3 times smarter than the people around you. You have to work that much harder too, because you're not going to be given the second chances that other people are. Today, that's happening for everybody, but that's the truth of it. Like, not teaching people to be more concerned with who they are than getting the bag, the money, or being a thing is what has caused so much of the chaos that we're witnessing, in my opinion.
No, my issue. I hear what Watt's saying. Everything he's saying is factual. People do have those influences. My pushback to that whole concept, because I've heard that a lot of times. Like, man, somebody so and so's young, so and so's young. And I was pushing back on it earlier with JP. So and so's young, their age. I know we keep pushing that thing about people's brains are not developed until they were 25, but we have like a history of people who had to do things bigger than show up to work before the age of 25. They had to do more meaningful, life-changing, society-altering things in their late teens and early 20s. People were married and raising children. People were taking care of farms, homesteads. People were going to war far before 23. I'm sure at least one of you, maybe all of you, have heard of the Pygmalion effect, but people live to their expectations. We keep allowing low standards at every level of our conversation. Like the low standard, I'm a person that fell victim to low standards, the falling through the cracks. There's not much expected of you, so not much ever has to be produced. We do that a lot. And I'll say, especially in the black community, I believe other people do it. If I look at American society, I know we all do it. But I know as a black person, I felt it. I lived it. There are problems with consistently giving people outs for how we operate in the world. I think we need to put pressure on and not keep taking it off.
I think the brain development part of what you're talking about sometimes isn't about age. Sometimes it's about circumstance. That 17-year-old kid that you're talking about that has to make certain decisions, he was forced into that. Now this 17-year-old kid that you're referring to is in a position where he has no choice but to mentally mature to make decisions to stay alive for whatever the situation may be. You know, maybe he doesn't have a father, his mother's, whatever the situation may be, he is forced to grow up and become more mature faster. Some people, like athletes, have the ability to mature a little bit slower because they're coming up with a bunch of people around them telling them when and where they need to be somewhere. They're growing up with a bunch of people around them saying, hey, don't do that because you need to get the practice. And then when they finally have the opportunity to make decisions for themselves, they just open themselves up to make a bunch of bad decisions because all of their decisions have been made for them and sheltered. So sometimes these 20-year-old gentlemen that have all this money just aren't all the way there in terms of making good critical decisions.
Right. Okay, perfect. You're right. Again, like I can't argue with y'all factually. What I'm saying is this: I'm offering a social critique, the way we operate in society, because the same social influence that creates Ja Morant wanting to flex a gun in a club is the same social influence and pressure that we could apply on people to show up better in the world. So if we have examples that he wants to live to, I want to live to an image that's not the one I grew up in because I want to look like the rap videos. If that's true, if I can live down to an image, then it's also possible to live up to an image. So that's what I'm saying. There's two sides to this coin. And if we can admit that there's one that somebody can live down to, then we have to be able to create a world where people have something that they have to live up to as well. That's all. That's my point. I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying there's another side to it.
No, and I understand. And I think for people to be able to live up sometimes, like for me personally, like for you, Arshawn, it's very possible that without getting in a fight, you learn that getting hit in the mouth hurts. For me, I had to actually get in a fight and get hit in the mouth to know that getting punched in the mouth hurts. I had to actually get in a fight to know that sometimes some shit that I say is disrespectful and it can start a fight. You probably learn that without getting into a fight. Like everybody just has to learn some of these things a little different. It's just gonna look different. The thing that we need to work, not what he did, but what he's gonna do after this is what we need to be focusing on. That's my truth. I think we need to focus on what his direction and thought process is after this rather than the actual act itself.
I'll get you. Go ahead, Sucre.
I could agree with that though. I could agree with that because the next part of my comment is gonna spell it out even better. So I would agree that it would have to be like a reactive thing now, and let's kind of focus on what he gonna do a little different in the future. But here's one thing that I really would wish that maybe a lot of the leagues would do, and the NFL does it a little bit. They need to do better on the rookie intake as far as like lifestyle of these athletes. Like I can say that there's a lot of money that goes into other things that these athletes do. They could take some of those resources and bring in people who are able to advise them on how to move. Like, because my thing is this is why I hear 100 watts on a certain part, like, let's not drag them. But at the same time, it's like, to me, it's like looking at a new crackhead. If you are a crackhead, if you just start smoking crack in 2023, knowing that you've seen the effects of crack, period, throughout the last however long it's been around, I can't blame it on them. It's on you. Same way I can say with him, we've seen athletes over the years do dumb shit like this, consistently seeing it time and time and time again, right? At some point, if you can't be a student of the game and be missing all them details too. You feel what I'm saying? Like you can't be like, I just watched these players and all I did was learn how they do on the court. No. If Ja Morant's favorite player was Allen Iverson, then I'm pretty sure he know the story about AI holding his wife up in the house with the gun. You know what I'm saying? So it's not like they don't know these instances. That's why I'm looking at them like, I feel you. You are 23. I can give you that grace, but you know better. You know better than that. You know what I'm saying? Because you have to, because it's not like it wasn't and I get it, like, because there's been so many other examples, and you would think people, but this is a very niche kind of idea. You know what I'm saying? And if he was about that life, I would understand why he did it. But you know about Gilbert Arenas, you know about these goofy niggas who did all this. Like, it's reasons why. Like, that's what I'm saying. It's too many examples. You know what I'm saying? It's too many examples.
But see, this is why I think that, again, you all are letting money cloud the thing. 23-year-old young men, especially Black ones, believe that they are invincible, believe that just because that happened to Allen Iverson and Gilbert Arenas does not mean that it is going to happen to me. Did you see that nitwit was arrested with some fireworks or a gun? Was it a gun at the airport and some fireworks in his truck? Weird. Like, these people are losing it. But anyway, I say all that to say, you got to remember, that's the thing about it. 20-somethings, male or female, very self-centered, do not believe that water is wet, all of those things. So the idea that he's just going, like, he saw Iverson, but was Iverson the same age? Was Iverson, he ain't got no wife. You understand? All of those things, he ain't even thinking about that. He's thinking about just him. That's 20-something. And we got to be fair about it. That's all I'm saying.
I can dig it because 23-year-old Yella is worse. I'm reckless as shit now at this point. You know what I'm saying? So
23-year-old Yella is sugar in the raw, baby.
23-year-old Yella didn't come home for days. Let's just put it like that. God damn it. 23-year-old Yella was outside. You know what I'm saying? Like, I didn't come home for days. They fucking me.
Out here.
Ouch, yeah. But I seen the meme. I seen the meme the other day. This dude is cool, man. He just be standing on his front porch and shit. He be dripped up, but he just be standing on his front yard drinking shit. And his little caption was, "Remember when we used to stay out till 4 a.m. and then go to work at 7? You like, we was out here wilding.
Listen, I lived in Germany at one point where, like, the sun wouldn't go down until like 1, 2 o'clock, and then it's back up at like 5. Bro, it's perfect for doing that, just that. I had 3 different jobs at the time, and I was still getting the club in at least 3 nights a week. Your girl, I was a single female in Germany. I ain't had nothing to do but go to work and go to the club. And honey, I was getting it. When you talk, man, them folks who were like coming of age in the 90s, woo, we was doing it. I understand why our children are the way that they are. I take full credit for the fact that my sons are huge video gamers, that they can be quick at the mouth. They got a quick wit. It's me. We have to take credit for those things, because then we can hone it into a skill, right? Don't just leave it like wild and feral, at least turning it into something that they can use. So like, I made my youngest more of a debater than making him an arguer. You got to figure out just how to turn it into something. That's all.
Look, another.
Go ahead, Watson. I want to show something. So after Watson's done with his point, I want to bring something else up.
I do think that there is an element here that is being stepped over. Like, some of these kids that we're talking about were raised by Freak Nick going. You know what I'm saying? Like, these kids are being raised by the people that was going to Freaknik and doing the wild shit that y'all talking about. So it's going to drip down in some form of fashion. I know what I was doing in my teenage years. That's why my oldest being 11, I am so fucking, because I know her time. Come on, dog. I know what's coming. So when I see young people doing dumb shit, I'm just hopeful that there's somebody in their ear to be able to kind of direct some of this shit.
Look. Listen.
You hear this one in the background.
All you can do is admit defeat. This is the thing. I was saying this the other day. I think that, for instance, no child should be introduced to the song that they were created to until they are old enough to understand the creation. Okay? Because we be playing music and we don't think that they listening, and and then all of a sudden they turn 7 and they talking about, I'll be your daddy. Dad, like, what the hell happened? So
yeah, but that's hard. That's hard when your kid was made to Kelly's 12 play, but they on TikTok listening to WAP.
Yeah.
Like,
Speaking of making children,
hard to do.
Speaking of making children, I want everybody to see why we keep calling Yella Sucre. Now, anybody on YouTube, if the video stops, is because SNL NBC stopped it. And anybody watching the replay, if you end up having a gap, it's because the video got blocked You know, like the thumbnail said, I got blocked. If the video got blocked, I'm going to trim that part out, and then the video will be, you know, put back on in a day or so. But so if you see me saying something, and then all of a sudden we're saying something else, like we just saw it, we saw it, but you didn't, because I had to do that earlier this week or last week. So let's look at Sucre. So speaking of making kids, man. Speaking of making kids.
I swear to God.
Ridiculous.
As soon as I saw it, I was like, if that's not Yella, damn man, thank you.
Yes.
Oh shoot, that was funny.
Absolutely. I thought the people needed to see that. The people needed to see that.
Yes.
So the poll is 75% of the people believe you are Sucre.
Cool. I click yes too.
I decided y'all gonna meet one day. It's gonna be some funny shit. It's gonna look like Tom Cruise when he met what's his name in the movie. They were looking at each other. It's gonna be like that. Like what was that? Tropical Thunder at the end. That's how it's gonna be. Y'all looking at each other.
But yeah, I had to. Y'all was talking about making kids, and I was like, that's a perfect time to bring in the family meeting, because Sucre needed to be known. Everybody needs to know about Sucre Yella Sucre. But man, y'all, I know I interrupted. Y'all was talking about the kids. I know y'all was talking about something about the kids. I can't remember what y'all was talking about. I know I interrupted that, but go ahead, y'all just jump in and talk about whatever. I can't remember what Watts was saying. He was just saying something about the kids, though. I lost it. I lost the thought.
Talking about because JP was talking about how kids shouldn't be introduced to the song they was made to.
But that was it.
The shit they listening to on their own is already wild within itself.
Yeah.
Frozen.
No, that's true.
Now just imagine hearing that song.
Man, I watch from the corner.
It's a bunch of betas in the world today.
Dad, what are you watching from the corner? What is it that you're watching?
I'm watching somebody else make you
jamming. Jamming. Wait, hold on. But
it was crazy. I was looking at this setup thinking that. I thought they were going to go upstairs.
There might be a delay.
Like yeah, it's a slight delay. And she was pregnant. Yeah, that was funny. And then it wasn't just Sucre. It wasn't just Sucre. He was catching all the heat. But they did that little lane. You know, this time he was on top. This time I was on the bottom. This time we were on the side for all the different colors. Like there were like 3 different nationalities. Yep, Yella got dropped. Well, Sucre left.
That's what I was thinking too. Like I saw the
that was funny. He sounded like Michael McDonald.
Set up to be weird.
Yeah, that was funny. Yella said it'll be right back. Yeah, I mean, man, that was an interesting thought though, Watts. You should not know the song that you were made to. That would be kind of weird. But now, because you said that, now I want to ask my mom. Like, I would hate to find out that like one of my favorite songs, like was my favorite song, and then find that out. I'm like, oh, that's why it was my favorite song. Like that'd be so weird. It'd be so weird. It was like stuck in my head. That'd be so strange.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if my mom told me that the song that I was made to is the song that she played every Sunday when we clean the house. Like I wouldn't be surprised if that was the case.
Man, so we got a couple of guests in the background. I do want to bring them up, but I have a quick, little, promotional video that I have to fix it. It's got a couple extra seconds of black on, but let me just play this anyway.
Swami Vive Kamanan Suchin Tendolkar to Virat Kohli.
Yeah, so we did have the translator there, and it did say, please subscribe to Kawaii Bree. It does, you can use the exclamation mark commands in the chat to get her link. So we got Bree in the building.
I feel like I'm a spirit, and like that's how you summon me, like on Final Fantasy or something.
Yeah.
Like if you say that, then I'll show up in your house.
But we had somebody else lurking. So I want to bring them up as well. 1 second, everybody.
It's a late night. You can see it in my eyes, baby. I've been
We had somebody lurking, watching the show, and it was Sucre Jenkins, y'all. Sucre Jenkins has joined the stream. What is up, Sucre? How you feeling today, man?
I am all good. Just fresh off beating Streets of Rage 3. And I'm feeling good.
Hey, congratulations.
Why
man.
y'all sound?
Congratulations.
Y'all really do sound the same. Y'all do sound the same.
Watch from
I'll lean. Right. I can lead in.
I watch from the corner. That part is going to stick in my head, man. I watch from the corner. Man. So, Sucre, what is it like? What is it like creating life with another man's wife while he watches from the corner?
The next part of the song, spell it out great.
Right. Gotta listen to the song.
Don't forget to mention backing into spaces.
It's awesome for me. She climbed me like a tree. He was in the corner and he saw what he could see.
That is
You ridiculous.
That is disgusting. I'm actually about to. This is I got too much shit going on in my life to be listening about some cuckolding people. Okay.
Come on now, this
Lord, I
sweet
hope one of you niggas clip this.
Oh
hey,
man.
I'm just saying. All I'm gonna say is this, and I'm gonna be for this is Yella and Sucre speaking at the same time. There's no weirder feeling than getting that call. Like, hey, let me talk to you, bro. Dang, look, you calling the wrong person, G. That's all I'm gonna say.
Bro.
I am not the one that you got a gripe with. All I'm saying. Hey, man, you was such. Look, if I was, that is the weirdest call to get. I'm gonna tell you it's me, but your beef ain't with me. What you calling me for? Damn, you ringing my phone for? What? Your beef is not with me, sir. I didn't enter the council. The council let me in. Get that shit.
Plymouth Rock landed on us.
Plymouth Rock landed on me, G.
I mean, even though they invited you in, you still did drag mud through the foyer.
I mean, I definitely didn't take my shoes off. But you know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
It's a reason why you keep your shoes.
You done track mud all through the living room. Mud all through the living room, goddammit. You just left remnants of your entrance, goddammit.
It's the reason why you keep your shoes on. It's the reason why you keep your shoes on. Hard to climb out the door barefoot. That's what I'm saying. Hard to climb out the window barefoot. That's what I'm saying.
Now I'm gonna go ahead, JP.
No, I just said we just need to do like an inappropriate live stream once a week where everybody tells the truth, because everybody behaves as though these things didn't happen in our lives. You know what I'm saying? I fully admit that I used to be a swinger, that me and my husband did all kinds of things on my own channel. But shame the devil. What we're not going to do today is that. But what I'm saying is it's a true existence, like how people get through marriages. Oh, Lord have mercy, sweet Willie, chill out. We all have to, if we're more honest about it, then people would be more realistic going into marriages, going into relationships, going into you do not have to get hurt or beat up, but you do have to have someone to tell you how not to do those things. I think that's the thing. Sometimes we have to understand that we have to teach people how not to do something, because they go the way of their peers. They go the way of the people that they spend 8 to 12 hours a day with while we're working and at school and doing all the other things. What's the bias
take, JP? Based. It just means like a really great. It's like base.
I mean,
like
a lifetime is a long time to say what you ain't ever gonna do. That's all I'm saying. You gonna be with somebody a lifetime, especially if you get married early. Yeah. I'm not in business of saying what I'm not never gonna do. So,
if you get married in your 20s, you pretty much agree to the 20-year-old experience. And I'm not saying that is a bad thing. You come out a different kind of old adult sometimes. Oh, I mean, listen, having lived it, I do believe that it is. Yet I have some people do. I've seen people do it successfully. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I'm someone who tries not to bash down something just because it didn't work for me. But because like my eldest and his first girlfriend, they stayed together for 3 or 4 years, and they were born the same day but a year apart. And what separated them was her need to go off to a different school. Like those things, I think that if they were to meet, I don't even, to be honest, that maybe they could meet later on in life and they could pick up right where they left off. We say that can't happen because we don't want to believe in Disney love because it didn't happen for us. But maybe it can happen for them if we give them the information and the opportunity. That's my perspective.
I believe it
But
can.
wouldn't you agree that the ebbs and flows of that particular relationship set him and her up for what was coming for them forward? So they did have to get hurt. They had to take a couple of lumps to figure out how to slide into the next one. I really feel, especially when it comes to relationships, like sometimes you don't know what a good relationship is until you've seen a bad one. Whether it be your parents, your uncles, like you have to see a bad relationship to know what a good one is. Or you have to see so many more good relationships to know what it is. It only takes one bad relationship to know, all right, that's the shit that I'm not doing. But a good relationship, like you have to see multiple of them in so many different forms to understand what a good relationship is. So sometimes you got it's like that's what I'm saying. Like you have to take those lumps in order to learn.
But I am not sure that when you say taking those lumps, for instance, if say both of them come from a 2-parent household, one family is functioning properly is what I mean, right? And then the other is dysfunctional. When they meet each other's families, that's going to be a shock. Do you understand what I'm saying? Because at first you're just hearing each other complain, and you're making the same complaints because you're at that age in life. Then when you meet the other families, you're like, oh, that's what you meant. And then there's a reckoning that has to happen on whether or not you all can work together, because families are an extension of you, especially when you're young couples. But I will say this. If you're a young couple, y'all need to get the hell away from everybody you know. This is not about like isolating you got to learn each other on your own terms, the way you're going to move together in the world. When your mama, daddy, cousin, auntie, granny tell you how to move or how they existed, it muddies the waters. So if you are someone who is getting into that situation, y'all need to just go ahead and decide to move. I'm not saying join the military though, because if you are not ready for a military life, you don't do it. You think you sad being a civilian girl out here getting cheated on and dumped every now and then. Let somebody dump you from downrange and tell you that you don't have access to the money or nothing else, and you got to get it up. Come on. That's a whole different ball game. So be prepared, be open-minded and willing to try things, but know your limits and know when to keep other people out of your shit.
I mean, that's hard to know at like 20 though. I think that's the other part. I mean, and the married couples I've seen that got married really young, almost straight out of high school. I mean, I definitely think they would say like there's definitely some pros to it. Like they haven't been traumatized by other relationships and things like that. But I will say 40 hit different when you got married at 20. That midlife crisis be midlife crisis. That's all I'm gonna say. I've just seen it. And people who've been married about 20 years at 40, they be 15, you've been married 15, 20 some years, you hit 40. I'm telling you, they be hitting different.
Do they not give that advice? I apologize. I didn't mean to cut you off. No, well, specifically, do they not tell you that there's like a 3-year itch, a 7-year itch? Are women not giving that advice to each other anymore?
You know that. I mean, from the people I personally know, the older people say, I mean, knowing it's gonna come, you know. I mean, you don't necessarily know what your brand of 7-year itch is gonna be. You don't know what your particular midlife crisis focal point is gonna be. Like, you know it's coming. I think a lot of women and men know. You know, around 40, you're gonna hit that midlife crisis moment. And I don't think, even if you know it, I don't think that can fully prepare you for it, because there's some people who don't believe that they will feel it, like, oh, I'm fine, we're great, I don't see that being me. And then, you know, 38 pull up on them and then they start feeling a little shaky. So I mean, I think having an awareness is coming is one thing, but I don't think it can even prepare you for what it's going to be, because from the people I've seen, they don't even know what it's going to, I mean, what they would have probably said it would have been versus what it ended up being, I don't even know if they would have said it. So I don't know. I don't think there's any way you could fully prepare for all of your regrets hitting you at once. All of the things you feel like you didn't get to experience, all that, like, should I have done it? Oh, I'm missing the window. I'll never get to experience it. I don't know if there's really anything you can do to prepare for that. I don't know.
I don't think there's much you can do to prepare for it. But I do want to say, the language that people use in real life, I don't think people actually use the language like the 7-year itch. That doesn't come up a lot of times in conversation. And we say midlife crisis, but a lot of people have a shifted perspective of what the midlife is now. So a lot of times people, when people picture older people, they picture elder people. They picture elderly, not thinking that I'm going to go through something at 30, 40, and 50. They don't think about that zone. Or like even with women biologically, what is that thing that early onset where you the hormonal changes,
menopause.
Like there are a lot of things I'll say in my family, because there were a lot of women. There were a lot of conversations that just were not had. They just didn't have them. They just didn't pass on information. And I know there are a lot of other informational deficient families, especially in the Black community, especially in poverty. So I don't think a lot of people are having those type of conversations to prepare the next generation. And I think and if you look at Black people, you can tell that by the way we operate. The information is not being passed down on a lot of different levels, even on family history, family medical history, family mental health history. The information is not being passed down. There's a lot of tight-lipped. The older generations, X and beyond, are tight-lipped about a lot of stuff. But go ahead, JP.
Well, I would like to say that's the reason why I asked Bree. I am one of 3 daughters, but I don't have any daughters. I have sons. I have all sons. So, like, what I told them is what I would have told a daughter. Yet, I wonder what women are telling their daughters today. The other thing is, you mentioned regret, a life of regret. My mother passed very early in my life, to the point where I raised myself more than she did. And I chose to have a life with no regrets. I'm asking, do you feel as though someone told you that life comes with regrets, or did you garner that along the way?
For me, I've always just done what my spirit moves me to do. That's just kind of always been me. I'm like very open, so I just go with the wind. So for me personally, I don't have any regrets. But for the people I've talked to, like I have an older brother. They've been married since they were like 20. They got married like really fast, had kids, did that whole thing. They do have regrets. I mean, he has determined in himself, I think, he doesn't ruminate on them. He doesn't dwell on them. But I think for him, it's realistic. Like, I do have regrets. I don't have to say I don't, but I'm not going to wallow in them. I think for the woman, it's a little harder, because I think the thing she struggles with is she never got to find herself, and her identity got so wrapped up in her kids. I don't even think she didn't have a mom who told her things. I know my mom and my parents have been big in their lives, like 7-year itch is coming. They use the terms. They like, but my mom, to her, she has a degree in child psychology. She's always been pretty tapped in, like communicating. But I think for her, it's just, she has regrets. Not, I wouldn't say they regrets. Like, it's almost like regrets for a life you didn't live. Like, I think everybody I know is like, I did some stuff. I don't regret anything I've done, but it's more like I didn't do a lot and I regret that I didn't do a lot of stuff. Like, that's kind of,
Would longing be a better word than regret?
Yeah.
Like they long to have done something else, or something more like, not else.
It's a weird paradox I find that they sound like they're in, because I think she likes her life, like she did what she wanted to do, but it's just like, what did I miss out on? So I don't even think it's not a specific thing she's even longing for. It's just like, what did I miss out on? Like, I have no concept of everything I didn't get to experience. All I know is everybody around me who didn't go my path seems way more self-assured in themselves, and I don't have it. And I have no idea why. Like,
okay, so as someone who has confidence at a younger age, how would you what would you suggest they do? How would you encourage them to move forward or
Well,
for lack of a
hey,
better way of putting it, figure it out?
she gotta let it go. I mean, I can't sit here and lie to her. Like, yeah, I did what I wanted to do. I wasn't trying to get married. I didn't even want to get married. So, like, yeah, a lot of my self-assuredness and confidence come from because I just did whatever I wanted to do, and I learned that I was capable. Like, I can't give you an experience you didn't have. Like, yeah, it sucks for you. Sorry, but like at the same time, you chose your path, so ain't no point in imploding the whole ship now. Like, you can't go back and get that time back. You know, a lot of women online, it's never too late. Nah, sometimes it's too late. Stay on your path, bro. Like, just stay on your path. It's too late. Don't try to blow the whole ship up like I'm gonna reclaim my you. No, you're not. You're not. Just keep going. That man ain't did nothing to you. Hey, like my brother, like he don't abuse you. He give you everything you want. He makes lovely money. You got free time. Like you really don't have nothing. I like not to say you don't have things you struggle with and complain about, but like, nah, don't implode your whole marriage because you didn't get to have a whole phase or something. Like, I don't even know what the fuck you trying to do. I don't know. I'm not that person, JP. Like, I ain't got nothing for it. I just be like, hey, don't fumble the bag.
But can we speak to that though? Like, I know JP, me, like Yella, we've all reached the phase. I can't remember exactly how old 100 watts is. I can't remember how old 100 watts is. Yeah, Watts. Yeah, I think you are lagging a bit, but I can't hear you. How would you say you were?
I'll be 31 next month.
31. Okay, you're about the youngest. Cool. Bree and Yella are coming up to that age. Me and JP are around that age. We kind of know and feel, like, even if you don't know it, you can feel the weight of the decisions you did or didn't make. Like, you could the things start to solidify, like concrete. Like, it's like concrete is starting to set. Like JP, Bree just said, like no, you're out of time. There's certain things that you cannot go back and redo. A lot of things you can. You can go back to school and get a degree. People are doing that in their 80s. But like, some things you cannot go back and do or undo a decision that you made. And they're kind of like set in stone. Like, you've had a child, they're grown now. You can't redo their childhood because you worked through it and didn't see them a lot. But a lot of people start to have those thoughts and feelings. I really wish I'd spent more time, because now I can see that there's a strain in the relationship that I didn't notice when they were a child. Like, there's a lot of different things like that. And I know Yella and Bree, y'all coming up on that age where a lot of that stuff starts becoming more apparent. Like, that's why a lot of people had that problem at 40, because a lot of stuff starts becoming very visible at 40 for whatever reason. But the question I want to ask everybody is, how, when those shifts start happening in your life and you start to see the outcomes of your decisions long term, because you've been living with the relationship long term, you've been living with the children long term, like you said about wanting to back out of, how can you prepare for that? Like if we're talking to somebody that's doesn't have that family member, how could you tell them, like, from your own experience, not as maybe a specific story, but from your feelings and your impressions, how would you tell somebody to understand life? Like, this is a moment where somebody might be listening that hasn't gotten to that point yet. And I know Watts at 31, he's probably just creeping up on it. It's coming.
It's already happened though.
Okay.
That did happen for me at 30, because like you're talking about, like, it's too late. There was a point in my early 20s, because I didn't get to play football like I wanted to in high school based on shit that was going on in my childhood and my parents. So because I didn't get to play football, I figured I could just play semi-pro, maybe play some arena football or something like that in my 20s. And then once I hit like 26, 27, it was like, all right, like, I'm a little old for this. My body done been through some shit. Like, nah, this ain't that. I don't got that no more. So that's already happened for me. And I know that that's going to happen again when I get to my 40s. And hopefully, when I get to my 40s, I can look at my decisions and say, I'm glad I did this, because I wouldn't be here if I wouldn't. I'm hoping, because I already realized that happened once. Now I'm hoping when it happens again, I can be happy about the decision rather than thinking, all right, if I would have done that rather than this, I'd be better off. I think the answer to life, I really feel like it is just a matter of what you choose to do with it. A lot of people are dealt shitty cards. You might be a single parent. You might have been adopted. You might have had to raise yourself. You know what I'm saying? You might have had two parents in your household, but still had to raise yourself and take care of your parents because one of them was sick and one of them might be an addict or something like that. Like some people are dealt shitty cards, but what you do with it is what's gonna make the difference. Like because there's nothing anyone can do to change. Like you can't necessarily change your shit. If this was the family you were born into, this is what you were born into. What are you gonna do with it? It's a matter of what decision you make. It's as simple as that.
No, that was all real stuff, man. I appreciate that. That's exactly what I was asking, basically. I like that. I mean, that's exactly the way it goes down. So, man, good stuff, man. And to answer y'all's question, it does happen at different points in your life more than once. So, yes, everybody's path is going to be different. Because what we're really talking about is choices, outcomes, and then dealing with opportunity costs. Like, what did the choice you make and the outcome that came from it? What opportunity did it cost you? And how much do you value that other path that you did or did not take? So that's mostly what that is. And that could happen. That happens a lot, sometimes daily. Man, should I win? I mean, on a small level, like this, it's an upscaling decision. Like, man, I should have got the sub instead of the pizza, or I should have cooked instead of going out to eat because I could have used that money differently. So we do the same thing on much smaller scales, and we don't even perceive it. Dang, should I watch Rashawn right now, or should I go read a book? No, Nova, you should watch Rashawn. Don't go study. Don't do your homework. Opportunity
Not
cost.
you Jedi mind tricking him on the stream. I was gonna say, I think what you can do is what I've told her, the person I've talked, like be intentional from here on out. Like if you feel like you were doing autopilot that whole last 20 years and you weren't really intentional about anything, you just went with wherever life took you and you didn't really have control of your own life, like you can't necessarily change that, but you can be intentional from here on out. You can try to figure out what made you go into autopilot, why you didn't have control, and just be more intentional from here on out. That's generally what I tell people. And don't make decisions from that emotional place, because man, I'm telling you, practice a little stoicism. Yeah, just kind of chill a little bit. Get some therapy. I've had to send a few family members to do. I'm highly recommended therapy, so I'm gonna tell you to go to therapy also.
Yeah, and tell your therapist to go to therapy too.
Yes, your therapist should have a therapist for real.
Oh no, that's not what I meant. I meant tell your therapist to show up for the sessions.
Show up for your session, yeah. I recommend in person, but if you can't, video. I guess video. I just find video gives a lot of people too many outs. I don't know. I just feel like if I'm pulling up to your office, you better be there. Yeah, you paying for office space, you more likely to be in it, right? So.
I'm signing up for in person next.
There were a couple of things that I heard that were said. First of all, I'm really sorry that your therapist didn't even bother to show up. That's just tacky, beyond tacky, just anyway. Before we need therapy, I think that if we start with what Bree said, be intentional about figuring out how you got to that point in the first place. Specifically, like focusing on why you didn't value yourself enough that you put all the value on being a thing instead of being who you are. I was intentional about my life. I knew I wanted to be a mother early. I was 16 when I made that decision because my best friend's parents were like 65 when we were 16. And they had her set up to be a mortician. They had a whole life set up for her. And she just didn't seem like she had any fun at all. She was dressed like a mortician when we were 16. You understand what I'm saying? And so for me looking at that, I was like, well, and then I went to her house and I met her parents. And I'm not trying to, I wasn't trying to judge, but it's just like, I understand now. You don't relate to your parents. My parents were much younger. I related to them. We had fun in our house. We laughed. We did, there was the smell of people and food and ambiance. Her house smelled like plastic and mothballs, and she's 16, right? So like figuring out how that has affected you, and if that's really what you wanted to do, you can decide at any age that you want to change and do a thing just for you. Maybe just start with being a little bit more selfish. Stop giving over all of yourself to somebody else. Oh, and also, just because this is the family that you were born into does not mean it's the family that you're supposed to be attached to for the rest of your life. Okay. Sometimes I'm someone who believes, one, that we did choose to be here. We made a contract with our creator before we ever got here. And our goal is to figure that stuff out while we're here. That's my personal belief on it. Right. And then you get to go on about your merry way. You're free once you figure it out. So in that thought process, what is it that you're supposed to be working on while you're here? Get back to that part of you, whatever it was that you loved. And if you're young, if you're someone who's in their 20s right now making decisions, base your life around what it is that inspires you, that brings you joy, uplifts you, brings you comfort, so that in that way it will stay with you. Yes, you're going to grow and change, but the things that bring you comfort are the things that bring you comfort. If you were that kid who was sucking your tongue and rubbing your whatever it was when you were a child, that's going to be you in some way as an adult. It's going to be how you self-soothe. So figure that out. On gummy bears?
Gummy bears.
Sure. Can you learn to make gummy bears? Can you turn gummy bears into an opportunity? You got to see if you ask me, I can tell you how to make something out of it. We can start a gummy bears CBD coalition tomorrow, pimping. It'll have marketing, a magazine. So alcohol soaked gummy bears. Listen, we got a whole bartending stream around gummy bears. Just like that, we've come up with 3 folks. This is what I used to do. So I used to help 12-year-olds figure out how they go make businesses out of nothing. So anyway, yeah, I mean, just start thinking about it. And that's what they're teaching your children, by the way. And this is the last thing, and then I'm done entirely. If your child happens to go to a school where they have a 60% higher or more free and reduced lunch rate, there's a good chance that they have a program coming up there called Junior Achievement. Junior Achievement teaches children from kindergarten to 12th grade how to be entrepreneurs. They use entrepreneurs in the community to go into schools and teach them about the things like a pitch, how you write a 1-sheet, all the things that you need. They do that from kindergarten to 12th grade. So they're already getting information that we didn't, and that's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Y'all can go ahead. I'm trying to do something on the back
Sucre,
end.
it's your turn. Let's go.
Sugar bear.
I was gonna say, y'all mostly got it, but I'm like this. You ain't missing shit. Like I've been there though. Like kind of in the same vein with what Watts was talking about, because I see a lot of the people that I grew up with taking different paths, and like I was an athlete and shit like that. So I see a lot of the guys I was with going off and doing shit like that. I hate name dropping. I hate it. Even with people like I can legitly tell you I know I hate name dropping. But like I didn't play with dudes that have been in damn near all 4 of the major, you know what I'm saying, sports leagues, right? You know what I'm saying? And I see them and I'm like, man, they doing it. And it'd be that little, like, man, I wish that, you know what I'm saying? I wish I could have took that path and things worked out better. But then I also had to be like, well, I like how my knees are set up. I like how my back is set up. You know what I'm saying? They already messed up now. I know how long they've been playing. You know what I'm saying? I get it, and it's other sacrifices that go along with that. You know what I'm saying? They're not around their family all the time because they own. You know, one of my buddies, he MVP in France. You know what I'm saying? Like it's certain sacrifices you got to make. You know what I'm saying? And I like the outcome. You know what I'm saying? I wish it could have been different, but it could have been different in other ways. Because now since I've gotten older. Even now at 35, I wish it would have been more of a maybe, you know what? I wish I probably would have got into science or something like that. And not necessarily, I wish I would lean more into science because I like science and it's there. You know what I'm saying? But I took the athlete path instead because, you know, who don't like throwing people around? Like that was pretty much my role. You know what I'm saying? In every sport I play, move people around. And I enjoy it. You know, I enjoy it. So But no, I would tell them you're not missing shit. You know what I'm saying? You're not missing shit because I ain't missing nothing. You know, because it's other stuff that I would be missing if I was doing that. So you know what I'm saying? I look can't mess with you ain't had, and I'm glad to see them experiencing it, right? Yeah, hell yeah, you know what I'm saying. But I'm glad to even. It's crazy because in my life, I'm glad to even know them. You know what I'm saying? I'm glad to even have cross paths with them. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like and I drop right here, like how we watch Young Rock, right? You look at The Rock and you would think like, okay, he went through these steps and he probably didn't have the greatest upbringing and he didn't. But you look at all the people he encountered on the way there, right? You know what I'm saying? Just knowing them people made him different. He took a completely different path from all of them. You feel what I'm saying? But I don't know if that makes sense. It's better to know certain people, even if your life takes you in different directions. You know what I'm saying? You good to see them people be who they are. So, I don't have no regrets, man. I can't. I mean, I don't have no regrets as far as like that. There's other shit I regret. But as far as like the whole not taking a path and like my own personal decisions and stuff like that, like how I could have played it. Yeah, no, it is what it is.
I have another question for y'all in that same vein, because I'm gonna tell you, I landed in a weird place as far as regret. I don't really regret my decisions once I got to the point where I was intentional and I chose what I wanted. That way, even if the bad outcome came, I can live with it. So I didn't regret it because I chose the thing that my motivations led me to. Like even if let's say I choose not to do anything today. If I chose that because that's what I valued at that moment, I can live with it no matter what the outcome. If I messed up, if I didn't do something, if it set me behind on some work, cool. But do have any of y'all had like life choices that other people will look at and be like, man, that's awful, that's bad or something, but you're like, no, this works for me. Like I would say some people I've seen that with divorce, like, oh no, divorce, that episode sounds so terrible. But like, you know what? That was one of the best things that could have happened. Like, has that happened to anybody else? Like where something that should have been terrible turned out to be like one of the best, like, oh, that turned out great for me.
Mine was getting kicked out the military. That was mine because on the surface, oh man, you're losing the salary, all the health benefits, and the this, that, and the other. On the surface, that's a bad thing. But when all the information that's attached to it, in terms of the time I spent in Afghanistan, the amount of time I had to spend adjusting just to get back to true north, some sort of true north internally, you know what I'm saying? And then on top of the fact that after going to Afghanistan, I was already getting orders to go to Korea to be away from my family for another year. So we're talking about my daughter who was just born. And if I would have taken those orders, we're talking about a total of 22 months, I believe it was, that I would have been away from my daughter. A total of 22 months that I wouldn't have seen my child. So,
yes, a lot.
And of course, on the other side of it, getting out, having to adjust back to being a civilian for a long time, couldn't find a job because a lot of people kept saying that I was overqualified. Then the job that I finally did end up getting was paying me so fucking low that I had to take 2 jobs just to be able to make. Like, it was a whole lot more stressful. But I would rather that and be around my daughter than be in Korea making $4,000 a month easily, paying all my bills and having money to throw away and put in the back pocket. I would so much rather be around my daughter than the money that I know was coming my way.
That's dope. I mean, I think my whole villain era, I definitely feel like I'm glad I did it. It was terrible, but it was great the whole time until it wasn't. But it's made me who I am today. And even like not abandoning it, well, relinquishing my nursing license. Basically, I have it, but I'm not updating it. I'm not keeping it up. When I decided to stay home with the kids and everything like that. and just deciding to like stop nursing and just stay home with my kids and let my husband, work and pay everything. I know a lot of people are like, "Girl, you crazy," but I feel I'm kicking it. I mean, talk about resting in your femininity. I be in a coma in this bitch. Like, it's
You feel
great.
vindicated, Brie?
I be shit. Listen. I'm capable. I'm a capable woman. I'm not concerned that if I ever needed to figure it out, I couldn't. Like, I'm just really secure in that way. I know I can figure it out. And everything I manage and everything I'm trying to get in order, I'm not worried about it, but I know a lot of women can't do that. Like, even when I was like, oh, like I was doing my last travel contract, I'm like, yeah, they were like, where are you gonna go next? I'm like, home. I'm not working anymore. And they were like, girl, he gonna cheat on you and leave you. Like, that's what women would say. Like, just they would just, like, it was crazy. I don't know why you would just say that. Like, they don't know my husband. We don't even have no problems. Like, girl, I wouldn't do it because he gonna cheat on you. And I'm like, why? What? Anyway.
Hey,
And
he'll watch from the corner.
He'll watch from the corner. I'm just saying, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, I'm glad I did that. And a lot of people are like, that's crazy, but I'm glad I did that. And yeah, everything I've done, I've been intentional. I've been intentionally terrible. I've been intentionally crazy. I've been intentionally just whatever. So I've always chosen all my paths, even the evil ones. And so I be kicking it.
I wasn't intentionally crazy. Somebody did that to me. But I would say
crazy.
if I people have always, the move that I make, people have always labeled crazy. So it's
that's what I mean. That's kind of what I mean.
Yeah.
I've always been an enigma. They be like, why are you doing that? Cause why not?
Yeah. So for me, it was taking the job at AmeriCorps because it meant basically going from middle class to the poverty level. But for me, I wanted to be one in the community. Two, I wanted to learn how to run a nonprofit from the inside out, so to speak, after having done all of the stuff on the other side and being a volunteer manager. So it was just the final piece and putting together what I wanted to do with the rest of my life. But it's been actually a wonderful experience, which is why I'm like, people wouldn't believe it, because it seems as though, like, if you look at my life, you're like, well, you in this little, but I went from having to take care of 6 or 7 other people to just me, having to manage 25, 30 people and $1 million accounts to just focusing on what it is that makes me happy in life. After at least 40 years of caring about what everybody else thought or needed, because I was a part of this family, so to speak. And so I say all that to say, like, make sure you know who you are always. I knew I wanted to be a mother. I knew I wanted to raise my children, all of those things. I never lost sight of that. But, when you decide to go your own way and do that thing and be that enigma, family isn't going to understand that sometimes. So you got to be prepared for that part of it. And then regular people will just be like, oh, that's great. Or, by the way, 100 Watts, I said this before, thank you for your service. And I truly mean that. Y'all go through a lot of shit, especially you younger fellas, because y'all trying to change the game inside and out, and it's really difficult. So I appreciate you. My baby, by the way, made it to E4P. He going to be an E5 soon. Sorry.
Hey.
Yeah, man. Fuck things in that game. I was just trying to get out of mom's crib.
So I would say my kind of, like, everybody will look at it crazy is, so I did what JP said. I took my fiance and my kids and we went the fuck away from everybody. You know what I'm saying? Like, straight up isolation. Right? Like, what? I'm finna take this portion of my life and go over here. And everybody's like, well, you can't do that. And you can't just cut it. And that was like a year. It was like, I didn't cut everybody off, but I didn't reach out to nobody. And if you didn't reach out to me, you didn't talk to me. Right? I found myself for years reaching out to people. Man, what y'all about to slide on you? What, man? When it was time for me to have that element in my life, I realized that my phone didn't ring. So I basically was like, all right, cool. Well, let me take my people. We finna go over and just do our fucking thing. Now, that's a lot of people I don't talk to. We was having that conversation yesterday. I can still go back to them, all that. If they call me right now, it's going down. Ain't no problem. But that's made me appreciate them more. You know what I'm saying? They might appreciate me more because we ain't around each other. And it was just, I realized that dynamic was happening. And especially it happened within my immediate family. Like me and my mom got super cool. Me and my brother got super cool. You know what I'm saying? Me and Pop's cool. And that's it, because that's really all who I got within my immediate family. So, man, look, it might seem like, man, yo, he be streaming, be in his room all the time, be chilling, you know what I'm saying? That's cool, but this is the best dynamic I've ever created for myself. Because I don't have that pressure of needing or wanting to have that daily interaction with people who I got history with. You know what I'm saying? Long-term history. Like, this is something different. You know what I'm saying? We out here on a mission on one accord. But I'm talking about, like, as far as like family and personal shit like that, yeah, it's me being away from everybody is the best thing that ever happened to me. I don't regret it one bit. Everybody else look like, where you been, Yellow? Happy.
Keeping it light, keeping it light. Sometimes them relationships be heavy, you know what I mean? So.
Yeah, real quick, just want to shout out to Conscious TV. The King is in the building. What's up, Conscious? How you feeling?
Hi, hey everybody.
Hey, Conscious.
I just popped in and heard you guys talking about regret. I think that's a very interesting discussion, and I'm liking what I've been hearing so far. I am like Bree. I don't have any regrets except one, and it's such a regret that I haven't even been able to bring myself to vocalize it to another human being. I can only talk to God about it. That's how much of a regret it is. And it is something that has shaped and dramatically impacted my life, and it will always impact my life. I do not think there is anything that can change about it, but my overall attitude is just to make the best out of everything. Like emphasize the best, like to just search for the best way to improvise everything. Like if something goes awry, something is derailed, or there's a shortcoming or a pitfall or whatever it is, that just search for the highest, greatest, bestest of the situation and then just leave it there. I think probably if there is any other redeeming quality out of regrets or mistakes or whatever category people want to classify them or categorize them into, is I think regrets or mistakes are humbling. I think they offer a humility, and I think in some strange way you can learn not to also take life not to take life so seriously. Like that humbling, that it brings you to that level of humility. Like, you know what? Life is just life. And it is what it is. And there is no manual to be ejected into this reality without any knowledge about from which you came or from which you're going. And then to take on the gravity of the life experience is extremely monumental and complex beyond all imagination. And so sometimes I just take a look at the gravity and how complex of a system this is and how bizarre of a experience waking reality is. And I just tell myself, well, when it's all said and done, I'm just going to blame God for it.
Shit, that's what everybody do anyway. Hell.
And I land my plane there.
I think
really
that's the
think it's
wrong
a lot
office
simpler
memo.
That's what people do anyway.
I mean, that's fair,
I
though.
don't
I mean, that's fair.
disagree. I don't disagree with what Conscious is saying. I do think it is. I don't think it's as complicated as you think. Like, I really just think it comes down to when you think about how many decisions you make on a daily basis. When you start compounding it over how many decisions you make over a week, how many decisions you make over a month, at some point you're gonna make a bad decision. And that one bad decision can possibly ripple off into 3, 4, 5 more bad decisions. Like it's gonna happen. Like with the amount of decisions you have to make, you're gonna make bad decisions. And the hope is, like somebody told me before, the difference between stupid and ignorance is knowing. And if you did something out of not knowing, once you know that it was wrong, now you can move accordingly. And if you decide to continue moving that way, now you're being stupid. So if you make an ignorant decision and it causes a ripple effect, that I think that's one of those things that people like we generally don't regret. I made a decision based on the information I had and the circumstance I was in. It was a bad decision, but I made a decision, right? I don't think we regret those. But the decisions that you make knowing that you shouldn't have been doing that shit, those are the ones that we regret. And it's really just as simple as just knowing, like deciding that you're not going to do some shit you shouldn't be doing. And if some bad stuff happens, it's not necessarily because you're fucked up. It's just a bad decision was going to happen at some point.
See, that's the thing, 100 watts. And I hear what you're saying. The thing that I regret is something that I did out of ignorance and out of being unconscious, but it's so hard not to regret it because the impact of that decision is present daily in my life. It's not like a one-off situation where like you just humiliated yourself in front of a bunch of people and you get to just go on and be a bad bitch afterwards. It's like when even the decisions you make out of being unconscious are so costly. And that cost is a daily reminder because there is symptoms, probably lifelong symptoms like lifelong symptoms. As a result, it's very hard to divorce the regret thing. And I don't even know if I call it regret, but it's definitely something. But it's interesting because, yeah, the fallout is daily as a result of some of those decisions. So what do you say about that?
Out of respect for knowing that that's something that you take into God, I know that there aren't follow-up questions that I can ask. You know what I'm saying? So I will respect that. I do think that, generally speaking, because I don't know you enough to be able to assume anything, but generally speaking, I just think that most situations, even if you did something and offended someone, like if you did something and offended someone, didn't have the intention of offending them, I feel like there are spaces where most people know that there is a possibility that me saying this or doing this could possibly offend this person. I feel like we know that, but we're like our intention. Like I didn't intend to be fucked up, but I knew there was a possibility. Like sometimes we make jokes about people, and it's like I know it's a little fucked up, but it was a joke. You know what I'm saying? Like that shit is just I don't know, man. It's a piece of us that when like we're trying to justify our stupidity and covering it with ignorance. I think that happens, generally speaking, a lot of times.
I was gonna say, I know JP was gonna say something. I know for me, I have things in my life that are high up there as far as like I'm in an okay space with them, but I understand the spiritual. Like I'm a spiritual person, so for me, I have things like that where I've done in the past, and even though I don't regret I don't regret any iteration of me, I still understand that the spiritual cost of what I did will never go away, right? And like it is always going to be there because that's just the fact of the matter. Like especially if it affected another person or a person who's not here or whatever in whatever way, that that fractal, that what I did is always going to carry some, is going to be in the realm in some way always. And so I can't find a way to feel better about that. That is the cost of like a sin or something, right? Like if you did it. So I kind of understand that too. Like you have things that you've got, even though you've gotten to a place where you can live. I live with myself. I don't ruminate on it. I don't, but I'm not gonna sit here and say because I've gotten to that place, it doesn't affect the realm or it's someone's daily life or even my own daily life. But that's something that only my spirituality has been able to allow me to be okay and happy and content in spite of. And that's why I can like say, like, when I said even my evil villain phase where I was out here just being an emotional terrorist and being a terrible human to people, I still don't regret that, in the sense of I wouldn't say I wish I hadn't been that person who I was, because ultimately, like, I don't know what the fuck I need. So like I wouldn't be married to my husband if I didn't even go through all that. If I didn't do everything, I wouldn't be literally where I am now, with kids I have now, with the life I have now. So in that way, I have to just kind of, that's the only way I've been able to kind of be okay with the weight of maybe things I've done that are terrible. Not in a selfish way of like, well, I would do it again if they could just get me here. But I mean, that's just the reality. I mean, that's just the reality of, we can't go back and change the past. So I don't have to feel bad about that. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Hey, Conscious, how's your spirit? We've
It's
never been on a
wonderful.
panel together, so it's nice to be on a panel with you. I think this is really the first time, and I do watch some of your content. I love you.
Thank you.
I appreciate that you are out here because we need to be who we are. I heard you, and I immediately thought about my gastric bypass surgery because it's the one emotional decision that I have made in my life, and I don't regret it. Yet, I had to forgive myself because almost 15 years later, it aided in damn near costing me my life. And so I had to accept that I took on being willing to starve every day for the last 15 years and however many more I have on this planet so that I could be here, whole and in my body, for my children, for whatever else it was that I wanted to do in my life. So I hope that that resonates with you some, because it's very difficult to make that type of personal decision for yourself. My eldest son, who looks so much like 100 watts, baby, if you had a little mole on your right nostril, you and my son would pass for twins. He saw me the majority of his life, the first, whoever knows how long, as 330 some odd pounds. My middle son saw two different mothers, and my youngest son has pretty much only remembered me in this smaller form. You understand? That's a lot for them to take on and deal with. And they didn't have a choice in the matter at all. I had to make a decision, though, I thought, because my doctors told me it was the only way I was going to be able to be here for them, that it was a health thing, right? And so I did that when I didn't know that I had a team of people who would support me through my actual journey of figuring out why I was overeating, whatever it was that was causing my issues. I could have lost the weight naturally, and I may not have been in such a detrimental health situation down the line. So I hear you. I recognize you, brother. And it's just, yeah.
That is something
is regret
resonates with me. I thank you for sharing that, Jay.
I'm wondering now.
Go ahead, 100.
I'm wondering, and I'm listening. In listening, I'm wondering if people are maybe operating with the assumption that regret is a permanent thing, because it sounds like they're like, to me it feels like regret is very well a temporary thing, and that's something that you carry as long as you choose to, right? Because I'm listening to y'all talking, I'm thinking about a lot of stuff, and I'm thinking about a lot of decisions that I made, and I remember at some point feeling regret about some of these decisions. But now at this point in my life, like, I barely think about them. Like, there's certain things that I've done where you feel the ramifications of it, and it's like, damn, I wish I would have played that different. I wish I would have paid more attention. I wish I would have did more homework. Like, there are things where you think about it like, fuck, I wish I would have did this. But then after you move past it, be like, all right, well, I can't do nothing about that. Let's move forward and find out how to operate from here. Like, it's no longer regret. It's just a decision you made in your past now at this point.
I think our community specifically lacks emotionality, and we use the word, we use a single word to encompass all of our emotions, right? If we were to, for instance, what I said, I don't regret having the surgery. I don't regret even that it was a factor in me almost dying, right? I don't regret that because I'm still here. I know I'm going to live on for a long time. I'm going to see my grand. You understand? I don't regret it. I had this feeling of, if only I had the support team that damn near every Black person we know is looking for. You dig? That's what I'm saying. That's not regret. A longing, like we said before.
That longing, yeah.
Yeah, longing for that support. I don't believe, like, when we learn to use all of our vocabulary, for lack of a better way of putting it, then regret is just regret. And you can say, I don't have regret. I long for people, because even today, many of us still long for a support system, a community that'll show up. So a lot of us are live streamers, or content creators in general, just because they know that they're going to have a community that's going to show up for them when the ones that they live with don't. We've got to be, if we're going to be honest about it, let's put it out there.
Yeah, and I want to add to that it wasn't something I did to. It wasn't something that involved somebody else. It was something that I did to myself, and it came out of being unconscious and being ignorant. And I think to myself, because to your point, JP, I too felt like this thing would not have happened had there been proper community available to me, had I had the proper resources, obviously, and had I obviously just not been ignorant. That would have helped as well. But fine. But then I think to myself, like, well, look at where I am now. Like, I have no idea how the fuck the universe did what it has done now in my life. I have no idea how somehow, despite what I did to myself, that has I know the ways in which it has stifled me and shortchanged me. But also, like, there's been grace in that because I've been able to access things that also make me exceptional. And so the universe has kind of like found that interesting balancing act. So where my hope comes from, because there's been progress made, and because despite the way I feel and perceive the consequences of said things, that I do realize I only see in part. And if God can bring me this far, then who's to say that, like, who's to say what will happen next year? Who's to say what'll happen in 6 months? Who's to say that there won't be a complete 360? And because I am a kid at heart, and I believe in miracles. I believe that very weird, uplifting anomalies just burst themselves out into our reality and grab a hold of us and transform us in ways that are beyond our comprehension. And so my hope is also in realizing that I am very ignorant in terms of understanding the dynamics fully of reality, and that there are infinite possibilities that are in the blind spots of my life, and I have to give some credence and acknowledgement to that space for my dreams to be fully self-actualized, that that's something that can occur. And it's something that can occur without me even knowing what the fuck I'm doing. Just
Yes.
like a lot of the blessings happened in my life. I didn't necessarily know what the fuck I was doing to necessarily, end up striking gold. And I didn't also know what I was doing sometimes to also tumble down the hill like Jack and Jill either. So
Apologies, conscious.
Mhm.
Spirit is nudging the shit out of me. Spirit says that you need to lean into your spirituality more. That you need to sense instead of feel, and you'll be in the right spot.
Got it.
Not like you really are someone who is it. This is not me. Spirit is hitting me. It's you're in your feelings a lot. Like rather than processing your feels or emotions up here, you tend to process them in your spirit. Once you are able to sense your emotions and process them up here, you'll be able to sense the world around you and get the rest of or get other parts of your blessing, so to speak.
Yes, I received that. So thank you.
You're welcome. Spirit is really irritating sometimes, y'all. But it's worse than Larry. At least Larry just sit back there all cute and wait his turn. Spirit, but I got something to say today. So yeah, there you go.
A lot of Holy Ghost use this, sister. Let the Holy Ghost use it.
Child. That's the thing that I had to learn. I came into this space, and Rashawn would probably be able to tell you best because he really did help me out in the beginning. He was time stamping the shit out of my live streams. We had really wonderful conversations back then, which is probably how some people were able to recognize a gift in me that I didn't know that I had. But I didn't recognize it until I got away from everybody who was around me, and I didn't have to think for anyone else. It allowed me to focus on myself and get out of what may have been my feelings about things, mostly about being married for 27 years to a terrorist. That's my main thing. And now that I've been able to just let go of it, and I'm still technically married, I have been fighting desperately for whatever it is. I let that all go. I left it up to God. And every now and then something will hit me and I'll want to scream and holler. And I'm like, Lord, you just got to take that because I can't. Because if you give me my way, I'm getting some money, I'm getting on a plane, and somebody's tank is going to get towed the fuck up with my foot. So it's in my best interest to lose.
Sean face.
Damn, not the tank.
Oh,
you know what I'm saying?
So I was like, Sean's face was like, he was uncomfortable.
Y'all don't understand. Listen.
He started
Check
shaking
out
in
one of
his
them
seat.
JP streams. Lord have mercy. Anyway.
But were you ready to jump in? Because I wanted to touch on 100
I was
Watts'
just laughing.
I think Watts asked a great question, and it's true, and that's it's really hard to hold all of these ideas in your head at the same time because you're right, man. Regret is based on what you value at the moment that you're having the thought. So, like what everybody said, in that very moment, there might have been some shame or guilt, or like lost opportunity or consequence that everybody felt something about. But over time, it either it decreases or increases depending upon what you value. So I know a lot of people who made a decision. I'll use stuff from my life and people I know. They'll like have a child, and maybe in that moment they'll have like some bad man. It wasn't planned. I don't even like this person. Da 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 da. But that person becomes like the child, and that relationship blossoms into something that's truly a blessing. I've seen that a lot. I've seen people have relationships that were bad, but they learned so much from them. And while they were going through it, of course, it was horrible. When they broke up, of course, they were devastated. But over time, they learned so much from the experience that they don't regret going through it, because everybody, like I think at least 2 or 3 people have said it made me who I am. So adding time to the regret recipe, that's really an important thing. I mean, because what we feel about it today will not be what we feel about it. What's yesterday's price is not today's price. Like, so, value changes over time. So I'm glad you brought that into the equation.
Yeah, I think I've definitely learned that like time, and because of my belief of what God is, like God being all potential manifested, and like I just always remember that anytime I feel a certain way, like my job is to live up to my potential, like not anybody else's. And if at any moment I choose to quit or like give up, then I'm snuffing out any potential left in me. And so I think for me, I've just learned over time that time increases potentiality. Well, it decreases with time as you get older, obviously. But anytime you try to just stay in one place, you get frozen in the past or anything, you're snuffing out all your potential. So for me, I don't know, especially like that's helped me for sure. Like, well, what do I have the potential to be from here? Not from who I was or the past. It just keeps me very present. And I've just found that time has been the best healer in the sense of, well, I've reached different potentials. I've walked many different lives in one lifetime because of that belief. So
that's what's up. And shout out to Take It Home Podcast, Chris Classic in the building, and Dawn Harden also saying hello to everybody in the All-Star panel. Thank y'all for being here. Appreciate y'all for coming through. Just real quick, I think living with regrets takes the joy out of the life we can live. It happens, yes, but I guess somehow we can move past it with time. You can't. I mean, but the opposite is also true. Some decisions may get magnified. The regret may get magnified over time. So I mean, I'm glad Watts brought that in, because man, if I had lost, I know this guy lost a jump drive with Bitcoin on it. Like a month after he lost it, he probably didn't regret it too much. But when Bitcoin blew up, I could imagine. I can imagine. So I mean, time, it can go either way. Your feelings about a decision can go either way based on circumstances.
So what
Not
do y'all think
Sue
about
Craig the Most
circumstances?
High.
So what do y'all think about circumstances like of a grave nature, like the mother who didn't think too much about just putting her newborn in the back seat because she's just going from here to the gas station and didn't properly strap them in, and then an accident happens and her child dies, or the person that had a head-on collision or a car accident that led to the death of someone, or someone that took someone's life in the heat of anger. Like, what do y'all think about that type of regret and moving past those things that have severe consequences and that kind of bleed out, not just from you, but they impact someone else and their family and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Right.
They kind of spread out like a cancer.
I mean, it's like, once again, with the regret, the information you had at the time, for instance, I know a lot of parents don't actually know how to strap their children into their car seats correctly. So a lot of times it's a lack of information, but like Watt said in the past, a lot of times you feel the worst about things you knew better and you did anyway. So I think that would be harder to know. I knew to strap my child in and I didn't. I remember seeing a mom who she left her kid in the car to do something, and the car got stolen. And I just know she beat herself up about it. I think she took the kid with her to do a DoorDash or something like that. And the kid got kidnapped or something like that.
Yeah, that was
And so I'm sure the shame, that's shame, as well. I think that's a more complex thing, because it was I had the power and I didn't properly wield. I feel from my own experience, that's traumatizing. Because for me, the trauma, the most traumatizing moments in my life are when I betrayed myself. If I knew better and I chose to do something else and it hurt me or hurt somebody else, and it was a massive betrayal. So I think now you're in the realm of that's trauma, right? Beyond regret for an outcome that was just of no consequence, maybe, on the grand scheme of things. So that's trauma. So then you have to move into the realm of how do you deal with trauma? How do you feel about trauma? And how to process that. So I feel like those people, I think that's in a whole nother realm. It's not as easy as just giving yourself like, oh, I didn't know better, or like, I think trauma is still one of those things that, like, even in the medical field, like, they're still struggling with how to heal trauma, because trauma lives in the body. And then there's like a spiritual, I think it's like such a fracture through the whole being. Like, not only does trauma live in the body, but it fractures the mind and it fractures the spirit. And like, you would literally have to re-knit that person together through all realms of their being. I think that's a little bit more complicated, and that's gonna depend on that person and like their belief system, what they believe, like what do they believe about God and themselves, and like how they fall in the universe. So I don't know. I think that's the hardest thing. I know for my own trauma, I've had that I'll never be the person I was before trauma happened. So like, that was one of the biggest humps for me, was like, you'll never be that person. Like, you'll never fix yourself. You'll never be who you were before. And like, trying to, like, that for me was always the hardest part to move past. And like, there are some things that I'm just now getting to that point where I have accepted that I will never be who I was. Now let's figure out what we can be from here. And I mean, that's really hard, because I still struggle with things that have happened to me, or things, and not like, I've been lucky as far as some things, but I just always find anybody I talk to who've had trauma, it's always like, I hate that I'm broken now and I'm trying to fix myself. And it's like, you'll never be fixed, in quotation marks. You have to like let that go.
A new normal.
Yeah, a new normal. That's probably not going to be very normal. And like, that's just hard.
I think we have to disindoctrinate ourselves from the words. For example, being told that I have complex PTSD with dissociative identity disorder makes the world think that I'm afraid to go outside, which isn't true.
Right.
I know what the hell going on out there. Why do I want to engage with it? We aren't broken. We were, I have to be honest about this, we were bred, we were built for only certain things. We are here trying to decide to love one another and other people when it's not what we were made for. We were made to build, like literally just freaking build. That was it, build, to put this stuff together, right? The fact that we are still here generations later trying to be more than just builders. That's it. It takes us some time. We aren't broken. In the same way that we started this thing talking about John Morant and the money and new money. We are new people. We're new Americans, so to speak, or old Americans learning in a new system, whatever you want to call it. But we're still learning. When you say that you're broken, it's like you're stuck. When you say that there's something that needs to be fixed, it's as if you haven't lived all of those years before. All those years before, you thought that you were whole. Something impacted you to make you think otherwise. What was that thing? And can you bring that back into understanding that someone said something, did something, whatever it is, our moral development, it comes differently than other people's, I think, is what I'm trying to say. Because we are more Christian people than anybody else. And so we have this thing around morality. We have to live up to it, even when we don't make other people live up to it. So we're not broken for expecting the world to be what we were told it was going to be. We were indoctrinated into a lie. Now we have to cleanse ourselves of that veil and figure out where we are, what we are going forward as a person or people, so to speak.
I myself, now, I don't completely disagree with you. I think you're talking about on an overall level, but on an individual level, there are many ways that I am broken. I can admit that. I don't have a problem with that word. There are things about me that are broken. There are also things that on me that were just never developed in the first place, underdevelopment and brokenness, because there are multiple paths to dysfunction. So I do believe, like on a historical level, because I didn't go through the breeding process. That may be in the genetics and all that, but me myself, my outcomes and my history, I have breakages emotionally and psychologically, but then I also have some emotional and probably some cognitive mechanisms that were just never properly developed. I didn't have the knowledge or the structure so that my thoughts were formed in a proper way to get certain tasks done, or the relationships between thought and feeling and behavior weren't properly connecting. I do have some, and you're right in certain aspects. We do have to contextualize things in a way that gives us the room and grace to understand our reality, but then we also have to contextualize it properly when it comes down to the individual level, so that we don't give ourselves outs to not do the work necessary because, oh, well, this is everybody's problem. No, I do have problems that I need to work on and I need to fix, because it affects how I show up in the world. It affects those relationships that we're trying to form. Like you said, we're trying to love each other. It affects that ability. It impedes and hampers that ability, the inability to trust, the inability to be direct and honest. Those type of things I think are a detriment. But I want to welcome man Jarrell. We got Illuminati in the building.
Hey, man, Drill.
Hey everyone.
Hey.
How you guys doing?
Good.
Doing good, sir.
Only the person want to die.
Only the person. Whoa. Let's not do that.
We rebuke that. I do want to say that I think that's what I meant when I said broken, in the sense of like what you're saying, Rashawn. Like, I have points in my life where I distinctly remember seeing the world one way. This happened and I could never see the world that way again. And that's
Right.
what I mean when I say like broken. Like, I ran into some shit and was like, oh, I will never be able to be as innocent or see the world the way I did before that event. And that's kind of what I meant, like a fracture in the spirit.
Or maybe you can, Brie. Like, have you ever considered that? Because I'm gonna give an example, right? Like, I went through a divorce. A lot of people don't know that I was married. I was married to my twin flame, and it was literally like being married to Lucifer. And it was like,
damn, you too?
Huh?
Not married, but yeah. No, that was your experience with your twin flame. Go ahead. I'm listening.
Yes, like I was married to the devil himself, and like I was fully committed, invested, like the whole nine. Like, even helped this person down through like 3 years of a prison sentence. They got locked up 2 years into our relationship. It was just like a lot going on. When the relationship was over, I literally it was like I was like the Walking Dead. Like, I was literally so fucked up and dead and numb, and I literally could not feel anymore. And I spent 8 months like not feeling. I was literally like dead from the neck down. I could not feel my feelings, and it was so bizarre and unnerving that I was like, if something doesn't change, I'm transcending. Like, period. Like, I cannot live like this. Something has to happen. So I dealt with like PTSD. I would like ruminate, and I would have like these like harassing thoughts, and I would have to. And at first, I didn't know how to deal with that harassment and with that ruminating. And then I started reading like Eckhart Tolle's book, A New Earth, and some of his material, which was like really, really, really good for me. And I was able to reverse that ruminating, etc. And then ultimately I ended up going down to Mexico and participating in an ayahuasca session that like changed my life, and it literally like rose me from the dead. I say all that to say that I think I know 100 Watts was saying he don't think it's that complicated, and I think that's the paradox of life, is that it's both like simplistic and it's profoundly deep as well. Like, there is this depth to life and consciousness and the life experience. And something that I have been able to see anecdotally in my own experience is I I think human life is a lot like everything else in nature, where there's like this dying and rebirth and dying and rebirth and dying and rebirth scenario. And I can only imagine that at times in our lives where we think everything is fine and everything fits, that's according to our own like cardinal perspective, but maybe to our higher selves, we are not reaching for the top shelf, in the words of Arshawn. Like we're not there. We might be comfortable and happy, but this is hardly the journey. This is hardly the point that we came to make, or that's to be discovered or revealed. And then because of this higher consciousness that is presiding over all of us, when we get really lax and really ideal and really comfortable, when we feel really good, if we have missed the mark and then we become like too resistant to being disrupted for the sake of growth, I think that the universe will take a hammer to our asses and shatter the whole puzzle piece if it means reconstructing 1/3 of that puzzle piece that we were one off about. If it means disrupting and ripping apart every fucking thing just to get you back to the center and have you do the shit over again, then so be it. And I think the hardship, but also one of maybe the most beautiful aspects of the human spirit is our ability to become again and again and again and again and again and again, until whatever the until is. And I've seen this like in the lives of survivors of 9/11 or those who survived Katrina. And, we see this over and over and over again, where human beings show that they have it in them to, yes, die, but also to rise again, and to rise again, maybe in a way that's fuller and richer than previously before. And so I wonder if we're like, if that's the collective experience, is that yes, we can look back prior to the trauma and be like, it's all good, but all good from whose perspective? All good from your like immature, undeveloped consciousness that just was in the cradle and had your Barbie dolls and everything was fine and ideal. But if consciousness is on an evolutionary journey and life is compelling us forward through the life experience to discover and to become that consciousness, then maybe our ideals about our previous lives are also erroneous too. And so
yeah. I feel you. No, I mean, I feel you, because my life is much more fuller now than it was. And I think all births are traumatic. I mean, I was a labor and delivery nurse. Birth is traumatic. I'm glad we don't remember it. I don't know any birth that's not traumatic to any party involved. So I mean, for me, I think I'm more like Rashawn, where I don't have these negative like feelings necessarily about my process. Like, it was traumatic and it did shatter how I saw the world, and I had to learn to trust myself again, because it was like, maybe you made a bad decision and it put you in a terrible position, but like the biggest thing was learning to, I will never see the world again, but it's taken me from the archetype of being an innocent to a sage, right? Like, you can't be innocent forever. And I've told my teenage daughter this, because anxiety has hit her, and I was like, it's part of the journey. Like, you can't remain innocent and be an authority over your life like forever. You can't have both. And so I don't necessarily have a feeling about that when I say I will never see the world the same that I did before that point of trauma. I won't see the world that way again. But I found that once I accepted that I'm not trying to be who I was back then anymore, I was able to mature, like especially with my feminine energy, because a lot of it was related to that. I was suppressed. I could not tap into my dark feminine energy. I could not tap into the lover archetype. I couldn't tap into my that part of myself. But when I got married, like Rashawn was saying, I needed to tap into that because I needed to be a lover to my partner, right? And so I had to go and figure that out. And that is what I found at the bottom of it, was that point of trauma for me was not allowing me to tap into that at all. I was like not growing. It was like a iron rod around a tree. You know, like if you put an iron thing around a tree, it won't grow anymore because they grow from the inside out. It was like that point was where I stopped growing in that place. And I couldn't tap into it at all. Like at all. I couldn't even, it was dead, like you said. Like, and so through my growth, I learned that where my point of trauma was. And I mean, it just kind of is what it is. But I was able to go to that point, and now I have been able to grow beyond it. And I don't think I would have been able to grow beyond it if it had never been fractured. But once again, I don't have negative personally. I feel like I'm okay with that. Like maybe it's because how I see trauma. Once again, I was a labor and delivery nurse. Birth is beautiful, but it's also ugly. And I don't know why people say it's beautiful, because it's not. But
I gotta say it,
journey and the
Bree.
outcome.
I had 3 wonderful labor and deliveries. Like don't get me wrong, they were wonderful because they were great stories to tell. So
yeah,
I didn't
beautiful.
see them as traumatic. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't think that it was.
mean,
But I will say,
it's trauma though. Like you stitching. I mean, you see 4th degree tears, and you see the body go through this trauma.
But that's because is it okay? So we're gonna meld your commentary with conscious, right? What if it's the fact that we haven't opened our minds to the understanding that if a woman's body can open up that wide to produce a baby, maybe it could actually transform into something different. We limit ourselves to the idea of birth being the biggest growth body growth experience that we're going to have, the most painful experience, the most traumatic. So in essence, because we limit our thought processes to that being the most pain, when you walk fully in your faith or consciousness, like when you're consciously faithful, that you're consciously aware that every day you are giving it over to God. You could be in control, but you are consciously giving over your free will. Then does more open up to you? Are like again, because we have our limited way of seeing God and ourselves, are we just not opening up more for ourselves? And how do we do that? That's basically what Unpack Your Black and How's Your Spirit is all about, getting people to reach into themselves, that part that they think is a hole or darkness, and just to understand, no, that's who you are as a person. The world has told you you're someone else.
Right. I hear what you're saying, because it sounds like a lot of people who have to go through shadow work. Like I've gone through shadow work. I accept my shadow. So once again, when I say I don't have that inside feeling about negative in quotation mark, because y'all can't see me, but like I don't have feelings about the word trauma. Like medically, trauma is what it is. It's not, if I say the birthing process is traumatic to the human body, it doesn't mean the human body isn't amazing and can't heal from it and can't become stronger. And with each birth is more able to do it, and it gets better each time. But there's blood, there's tearing, there's pain, there's stitching. I mean, there's, I'm down there with, with the midwife, with the sewing. Like it's not a thing. It's part of the process. But that doesn't mean that they can't heal. And with each birth, the body is more able to do it without as much trauma, without as much stress, without as much work. Them second babies basically come out so fast, right? It's not like that every time. So I hear it, but I don't, like, as far as somebody who's done like shadow work, I don't have feelings about the verbiage. Like I don't, trauma is a part of birth, and that's okay. you can heal from it and you become stronger for it and you become better and it births life. So if you have to go through it again, you know, I got 2 kids that I birthed. So like, yeah, I'll do it again, you know, to bring another human into this world. So, you know, I hear what y'all are saying, because like I just need y'all to, like, I don't have that, like, that it just is what it is. That's just the kind of person I am. Some things you have to be broken, or like you have to go through, like he says, the universe has to smash it with a hammer to rebuild it back into something better. And I accept all of that process. That's where I've ultimately arrived to. Even within myself, I've accepted that whole process, which is why I don't regret it. Because if I had to go through it again, I mean, it is what it is.
I just want to address Rico real quick. Listen, Rico, when you left, you took the fuckery with you. So the foolishness all left when you left. So now we're on to higher ideals and ethics and values. You know, you took all the old crusty, salty ass with you. But welcome back, Rico. Welcome back. You know, during labor, I told myself, I am not my body. My body laughed, and I had a strong contraction to say, yes, you are.
The birth has a way of bringing you right back down into that body. And that's one thing I had to learn. I had to embody. I can't be afraid of my body because of what it's been through. And yeah, labor has a way of bringing your ass right back down. You thought, I don't know. So,
no, I think all of us have a perspective on it. I think honestly, all of it is important. I think we need to be able to embrace like some of the ugliness of life so that we can see its beauty. And I don't think that's what JP is doing, to trying to minimize the ugliness. But I think there's sometimes we train our minds to only see the negativity. And so it kind of it stays there. But I think we need the compare and contrast. I think we need to see like you said, the trauma, so that we can see the beauty on the other side of it. Because if everything's kind of mid, like you don't have a high or a low. You know what I'm saying? Like I think there is something to the dynamism. I think Conscious said something about how dynamic life is. If we don't have the peaks and the valleys, if everything's just flat plains, it's just not as interesting.
You sounded like a whole stoner out here for a minute. I was like, he said, "Me, Sean, what do you know about weed? When that happened?"
We don't like midness over here.
We do not.
No.
What basic we'll take. We understand sometimes you just get what you get. We love you, Rashawn. With all
it's
of
okay. I'll be big and basic today.
Hey, you can at least you're like Sriracha Ranch. You're not basic. I'll give
big basic butterscotch. Triple big.
Yeah, baby. Look at it.
I'll say this. I guess we're talking about trauma today, Arshawn.
We're talking about a range of topics, which we talked about. A range of topics. Right now, we're just talking about the difference between, I would say, trauma being one end of an aspect, and the beauty and the amazing on the other end of the aspect. And do we need to use language? Do we need to use language to clarify, like to specify what we're experiencing? Does it have to be so like buttoned down? Because sometimes we get caught in verbiage. Sometimes we do. That informs our feelings.
Yes. It definitely. I agree with that wholeheartedly. But I'll say this about trauma and the contrast to trauma and beauty. You know, trauma that's ugly and beauty. People throw around words like the verbiage. People throw around words like hate all the time, right? But I tell people, you don't know hate until you hate it yourself. You don't know hate until you hate yourself. You know, like I remember this when I was deployed. Well, on one of my deployments, we're in what I consider to be like, there's no such thing. This is why I said there's no such thing as hell. There's no place you go. We're already here. This is hell, right where we are right now, right? But we're in this area. But when we're in this area where if you wake up early enough, and I did, I'll wake up before daybreak, and they had the most beautiful sunrises I've ever seen in my life, still to this day. And the whole area looked absolutely gorgeous. Gorgeous. Beautiful landscape. And here we are blowing each other's asses off. destroying each other. You know what I'm saying? As human beings. And I'm just like, good grief, how can something so beautiful be in this shithole? You know, but I hated that place. And certain events happened there that make me hate myself, like legitimately hate myself. But at the same time, like it was gorgeous. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it was a really, that was a real experience for me. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm like, how can something so beautiful, how is something so ugly? You know? And you're right. I think we get caught up in we train our minds to only see the negative. And if you do that, if you're only looking to critique someone or something or some event, and you're only looking for the negative things, you miss out on all the good. You do. As opposed to just being neutral and just observing and paying attention to all of it. That way you get all the good things and you notice the bad things too, but you don't miss out on the good either. That way you can actually you can properly weigh said event, the good versus the bad. So then you can say, okay, is it worth it? Because I got all the good here on one hand, I got all the bad on another. Is it worth it? You know, which one weighs more, the good or the bad, you know? And the bad, is it bad, so bad that I can't bear with that? Does it happen enough that, you know, it's something I can't deal with? I either can or cannot deal with. But until you do that, like really learn to take in both sides, the good and the bad, you're going to be stuck on one end of the spectrum or the other. Because if you're stuck on all the good, it blinds you to the negative part. If you're stuck on the negative part, it blinds you to all the good parts. So, you know, if you watch an event and you got nothing good out of it, I think you should watch it again. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it might be as traumatic as that may be, but you should really sit, and if it's something you can't put yourself through again, really sit down and think about it and really analyze it, because most things are not all good, either all good or all bad. Most things are not like that. Most people are not like that. Yeah, it's all about balance. Yeah, you're right, Inga. It's all about balance. And that's something that we don't focus enough on, you know, staying centered right in the middle and observe all of it in its all of life in its entirety. Embrace, we in the Army, we should say, have this saying when things got tough called embrace the suck. You know, because the situation sucks. We're tired, we're sore, we're hungry, we're thirsty. It sucks. It might be wet and cold at the same time, or hot at the same time. And I said hot like that for a reason, because it's fucking hot in some places on this planet. Right. It is. Yeah. It is absolutely scorching in some places on this planet. But yeah. But so we say embrace the suck, because I've learned to appreciate the bad parts too. And really, really like appreciate them. And because when bad things come, that's when the learning starts. For me, it's a challenge to me, and it's an opportunity. I take it as an opportunity nowadays. Well, for many years now, I've taken it for an opportunity to learn and to be better, to become better, to become more than what I am now. I think we should all practice on doing the same thing, and it's a practice that's ever going. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you're going to succeed at it. Sometimes you're going to slip off the tracks. You are going to see more of the good than the bad, or you are going to see more of the bad than the good. It takes a lot of focus to stay in the middle and observe all of it in its entirety. You know, that way you don't get overwhelmed by one side or the other. You can honestly see you can also see the balance and in finding the balance and seeing the balance in something. That's how you see it in its entirety. That's how you see the whole person or whole event. So now you really can say, okay, this event or this person has, hey, that's too much bad there. I can't deal with that. So I just stay away from that. Oh, it's all this good. Oh, this is such a wonderful person. That's how people fall for pastors and people like that. People with a lot of charisma.
Mandrell, but can we let's put a scaffolding on it that everyone can wrap their brain around. So I think everyone on the panel and in the chat's old enough to remember the Challenger explosion. And if not that, then everyone here is able to remember September 11th for certain. Now, we all experienced
I remember
that
Pan Am Flight 103.
There you go. Take that even.
I know exactly where I was when it happened.
Well, here's the thing about it, though, right? Well, what I'm looking for, first of all, those two are two global experiences.
Right.
There are also two things that everyone witnessed together, right? Like we were all watching either in our classrooms, at home. Everyone was glued to something and saw it happen. However, how we dealt with it was different. Schools thought parents were going to talk to their children about this traumatic event. Parents thought schools and guidance counselors were going to deal with it. Children were children, and they was just like, well, what the Sam hell, right? So we all had this moment where we were like dazed and confused. Whomever got back to their body, basically, the soonest could then turn around and share with others because it's global. Yet none of us know where to start with anyone else except for that point. The thing is we just have to not commiserate over the experience, right? Recognize we all experienced it and then figure out how it affected each of our communities. And we do that by figuring out how it affected us as an individual and then gravitating towards the communities that had that same thing so that opposite actually, so that we can learn how each other got through it and build something off of that. That becomes the new walkway or path on our bridge. So we've all experienced these moments of painfulness, trauma inside of us. How do we figure out what it is as this collective that we can build a bridge on? And just start from there. We might be the first bridge, but we start building little bridges and connecting other bridges. Y'all know, what was that doggone toy when y'all was kids? A bunch of fellas up here. That little tinker toy thingy that went up and down and you had to work to connect it with the screws and shit. That's it. We each have to choose our part in the bridge building process and then determine how we get this bridge together. But we got to go there now. Like we've all been traumatized, and we can hear it and feel it in the space. So the thing is now we recognize that. We all recognize, let's just say that it's American Blackness that did it. How do we define it in a better way so that we have a bridge of excellence moving forward, or a different way?
That's true. I was going to tell Mandrill, I was like, you got to remember, like, also you and me, Mandrill, we're more practicers of stoicism. So that's also going to shape how you choose to look at it as well. Like how you choose to break down and handle your emotions. It's going to affect how you deal with that. And I'm a practicer of stoicism as well. So
now, JP, was that a rhetorical question or was that a question?
Well, it was a question, but one that can be answered later because it's not like anyone expected to have the conversation today either. Yet I just think as a whole and in the space, we're all looking for how to move forward. And if we can find the thing that we all have in common that wasn't a hindrance to us, and turn it into, in the 5% nation, they say build on the positive and destroy all negativity. So whatever was a negative, you got to keep building on it in a positive way until it becomes a positive. So what can we take away from every negative interaction that we've ever had? Why do we have to go all the way back when we just, as a people, we all came to this space, we all have recognized one thing that collectively we've experienced negatively? How can we build a bridge of positivity on that?
For me, I would just say for me it would be boundaries and choices. Like those are the main two I would think that I think we can all learn is how to properly set boundaries and to make better choices for ourselves. Like that's a very simple one. I think all of us can come. I mean, because that not even in this space. I think a lot of times in our real life, a lot of the things that we outside of things that happen when we're young, after an age of maturity, almost all of our negative outcomes are because some lapse in boundaries and choice making. And choice making might have been because of information, poor quality of information, but Those two things seem to get us more than anything else. Go ahead, Mandra.
Oh no, I've lost my train of thought now. I mean, go ahead, Arshawn.
Nah, I agree with that. The boundaries and the what was it? Boundaries and
choice making.
Choice
our
making.
choices, our choice making apparatus seems to be broken. And you hear it parroted all the time. Like, where do we spend our money? Why do y'all spend y'all money on that? That's a choice. Or why does everybody keep watching this all this bad? Why do y'all keep watching all this negativity? That's another choice. Why men need to choose better? Women need to choose better. Choice. Like, our choice making apparatus. There's something broken there.
I don't think it's I don't think it is. I don't think it's a choice making mechanism that's broken. I think it's a lack of perspective. I think that's what it boils down to. It's a big lack of perspective. And when people say, "Well, you should have vet better," well, how does a person vet without perspective? And how do you gain perspective without gaining experiences? You're going to make bad decisions. You have to make bad decisions. Otherwise, how do you gain perspective? You have to go through negative experiences. You have to go through trauma. You have to go through good times too. You have to go through times that give you absolute joy that you will never forget in your life. You have to have both. And hopefully you think things through well enough before you make a mistake that might cost you a lot more than you're willing to pay. That's the hope.
I would say it's a lack of structure, though, because you don't have to go through all the things and make all the bad choices. I mean, you could.
Well, no, you don't have to. But what I'm saying is you have to go through some. You have to go through some.
I think that's why our choice making is off, because a lot of people don't have structure to protect them from the whims of life. Like, you don't have to be out in the elements. Like in the hospital, you can be, for instance. There are protocols and structures and things in place so that even if you're a brand spanking new nurse off the street, well, you're nurse, so you got your license, you know your stuff, but maybe you haven't seen a lot. There are structures in place so that you can make the choice that is best for the situation, even without a vast wealth of experience to pull from, because you're not an expert nurse yet. You're a beginner. You're not expected to have all this wealth of knowledge, but then there's structures in place that can help you still make a solid decision as the best decision in the situation. And so I think a lot of us didn't grow up with good structure in place, because lack of community, lack of like home shirt, like that lack of structure is why a lot of us have to do it the way you said, like get perspective through experience and just hope and pray that you don't run up on some terrible experience that you can't recover for while you're learning. Structure would be the thing that would protect you from that. Maybe not all the time, but you were in the military, protocols and structure can do a lot to help someone who doesn't know anything come out safely.
But those protocols are based on other people's perspectives, which they get,
right.
Which
that's
they
that would be community.
Which they gained and developed through their experiences along with other people's experiences as well. That's how those perspectives were obtained, and those perspectives were written down as structure and made a standard. They made a standard and a structure based off their perspectives. That's why I'm saying the perspective comes first, because say a baby sees a lollipop and they say, okay, if I can get this lollipop, it's sweet and it's good. That's what I want. And I want that because it tastes good. That's that child's perspective, but they didn't weigh the bad part. You know what I'm saying?
They can't.
Yeah, they can't.
Right. And that's where I come in. I provide the structure, and that's we don't have community to provide that. So everybody has to basically become an adult and figure it out themselves.
Basically,
if the standard is perspective, right? And Mandrell, you're writing the SOP. What's the first line? What's the first standard in a perspective SOP? The order. What do we do first? How do we teach it?
It depends on what we're writing SOP for. Yeah, so the SOP for one thing may not necessarily be the same as another. So that's what I mean. That's why I said perspective comes first. That's why I'm saying perspective comes first, and from either that perspective or several different perspectives, you create the order, the standard, the structure. You have to have the perspective first. Then you create order from that, based on that. Perspective is not even the foundation. It's the clay that you use to create the foundation.
I got you. So the perspective is that you, the individual, who you are is more important than what you do.
Absolutely, because I've had to make horrible decisions, but it doesn't make me a horrible person.
Okay, what's the beginning of the standard operating procedure? Like, we got to get them something. Young 100 Watts didn't know these things, but Young 100 Watts is going to teach youngest 100 Watts.
Gotcha. First thing is understanding.
50 watts.
Understanding of the situation, understanding of the people involved or the people who will be involved in the future. First is understanding it. You have to have that number one. You have to understand and get the full scope. That's we were talking about balance earlier. You have to understand all of the good and all of the bad. So how do you understand anything if you don't have balance? You know, if you don't have a balanced perspective of it, how do you honestly understand it? You cannot. You know, you can't rate SOP for something you don't fully understand. If you encounter something you don't fully understand, you have to learn through experience. You have to go through it fully. And again, get back to hoping you don't make a decision that's catastrophic. You know what I mean? But that's how you learn in instances like that. That's how you understand things, by sometimes jumping in the deep end, JP. Sometimes you have to. It's not with everything, but sometimes, you have to jump into the deep end. You know, so it all starts with understanding. But the thing is, a lot of people either think they already understand, and they clearly do not, or they don't want to understand. They have their own perspective that they've developed, and it's incomplete, and they don't care that it's incomplete. They got the parts that they like, and those are the parts they want to stick to. And so that's how arguments and disagreements can turn violent. People are just stuck on one side of it, as opposed to trying to understand the other side. And no one wants to understand. No one wants to understand the other. One side doesn't want to understand the other side. That's how wars come about. Being way too rigid on one perspective or the other. You know, but if we try to understand one another and respect, then at the end you have the understanding, respect the other side. You know, like even in war, your enemy, you still respect your enemy, because if you don't respect your enemy, it causes you to make careless decisions, and those careless decisions can cost you your life, or worse.
Yeah, gotta interrupt you real quick,
Go ahead.
Mandrell. Man, Truth, welcome back. Marcus, welcome back. Real quick though, I have to leave in 10 minutes. Now, Yella can shut down the stream, but I don't know if Yella is still here listening or he is otherwise engaged. So
we can bounce.
either
No, I gotta go make some chicken.
Cool.
Yeah,
So
you
everybody,
do that.
we go around the horn real quick, man, give a shout outs and all that stuff, man. Watts, man, if you still here, let's go ahead and get you in, because I ain't heard your voice in a minute, man. I miss you, man. I miss you, man.
Me too. All that long hair.
No, I think we had a great conversation today. I agree with Mandrell, and that perspective, like just perspective provides so much opportunity for so many doors to open up. Your perspective and your imagination, you can take over the whole fucking world, man. I love those that love me. Y'all stay amazing, you beautiful black people, you.
Man, appreciate you, Watts, man. Conscious, man. I miss you, man. I ain't heard your voice in a while, man. You still here?
I'm here. This was a great discussion. I want to thank you guys for having it. It was amazing. And I think that life is very interesting, and we probably should take a less judgmental approach to life and look at all things as just experiences. Don't classify them as negative or positive. Just live the experience, extrapolate the information, and whatever there is to take away from every stimuli. And pray that you don't incarnate into a cow's asshole in your next life. And on that note, I'm out.
Oh my God.
Appreciate you, CTV. We always get back to butt stuff here on Critically Drinking. I'm not sure how,
Always.
but we always get back to butt stuff. Man, Jarrell, man, you were just talking, so I don't miss you, but I appreciate you. Thank you for being here, man. Give us your final words.
Before you make decisions, pause and observe your surroundings. No matter what circumstances you're in, it could be with relationships, it could be with a job, no matter what. Pause and observe your surroundings and pay attention to what's going on. Being patient is not only a virtue, it's an absolute must in life. You must develop patience, and you don't just gain perspective from only your experiences, but you gain perspectives from other people's experiences as well. That's why it's key to listen. Like JP would have a live on early as fuck in the morning. I will wake up to go piss and see someone live, and it's JP. Before I fall back to sleep, I'll turn it on just to see what she's talking about. Seriously, I will flip it on just to see what she's talking about. What is she talking about this late at night? So this early in the morning, just to see what she's talking about. Hey, because you gain perspective from people like her. You do. She'll sit there and talk about her experiences in life, or she'll give her opinion about something. And sometimes it's something that even I haven't considered. Now I can, because I heard her say it. So wisdom can be gained from almost anywhere, any situation. So I say, while you do have downtime, use that downtime wisely. Arshawn, if you got downtime today, consider going for a walk. And before you have dinner, think real long and hard and weigh the pros and cons as to what you put on the end of that fork. We need you around here, Arshawn. We need you healthy. We need you living a long life. Okay?
I'm gonna not talking with the snipper over here.
Yeah, Rashawn ain't trying to do all that. Rashawn trying to figure out how to get a DNR tattooed on him.
Listen.
Yes.
See, Bria snitch.
I am a snitch. I'm trying to be a snitch.
Yeah, but Rashawn, you're one of the people we need. People like you, we need more of in life, man. We really do. Seriously, if more people were like you, were like you, the world would be a better place.
Nothing will get done.
Well, not that part of you. Not that part of you. Not that part of you, Arshawn.
No, you can't just delete parts of Rashawn.
I know, but what I'm saying is we can work on that. We can work on the discipline and the motivation. We can work on that.
You see how he wants to change you? I'll take you just as you are, Russian. I
I'll
love
take
you.
I'll take
Grace.
Thank you.
I love you.
I don't want to change him.
You're 12, knowing that you're 92. You just be faking it, bro.
Right, and I don't want to change Arshawn. I just want to help him. I just want to help him make changes to become a more complete him.
You know what man just did?
Lord, have mercy.
He just did the Kendrick Kevin Samuels. I'll take the man, but as long as he has potential and is willing to do better, I'll take him, but he's got to have ambition. He's got to take a walk before he has dinner. And
no,
better watch
everything you said after but. When you said but, you negated everything you said.
I know. No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, hey, man, listen, I'm your brother, and I love you. It's my job, my duty to look out for him.
For his best interest. Worry about what's on the end of my fork because McDonald's doesn't require forks. It's just a cheeseburger.
That's it.
I heard that.
No. Okay. Listen, I appreciate you, Russian, as always. Sucre, you, my baby. Bree, great to finally be on the panel and chat with you. Mandalay Bay, I just feel like you the type of dude that's your bag, right? You and your lady gonna hit Mandalay Bay. You're gonna give her a ring and a drink, and that's how y'all gonna live life. Thank you so much for what's it, cloud watching? 100 watts, my God. I appreciate you just being out here. Single fathers mean the world. Y'all do something different, especially when you're fathers of girls.
Ooh, not a
I'm gonna let that go. So what I'm gonna do? I appreciate all y'all. Check me out over on JP the Inspired Matriarch. Hit up my shorts, y'all. I make pretty food. Some of y'all need to talk to me about the food y'all make. Rashawn, we've been talking about Rashawn. All I want you to do is just come skate with me in the parking lot. All right. So outside of that, I appreciate y'all. We'll talk about it later. Love y'all.
Bye.
All right, Bree, go ahead and hit us with your final thoughts, young lady.
And wait,
before you even get into that, when do we get in some isms? Do we get isms next week, or we gotta wait?
First, you curved me the other day, and I'm still low key mad about it. We're gonna talk about it in Discord because I'm really not trying to do this right now because you curved me, and I'm upset about it, but I'm let it go. So what I have to say is, birth is traumatic and ugly, and that's okay. Everybody can't be cute. Everything can't be cute, except the good with the bad. I'm like conscious. I think we should just, I try not to frame things as negative or positive. I try to be in a neutral space because I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. I don't be knowing what's going on. I don't be knowing what's best for me all the time. If God answer all my prayers, I'd be like doing some other shit that's probably mid or stupid. And so I just be, sometimes life is bad. Some stuff is just terrible. Like you said, embrace the suck. My brother's in the hospital right now. There's nothing positive about that, really. I mean, sometimes it just be like that, and it's okay. But I know as a person who is a steward of birth that, there's always something on the other side. And all babies ain't cute. So I'm not even going to say it's always going to be cute on the other side.
Oh, you dirty.
All babies ain't cute. Okay. First of all babies come out looking like little aliens. And
I'm gonna watch from the corner.
And some babies just downright not cute.
I had blue eyes when I was born.
But was you cute though? You probably was wrinkled and pale.
No, I wasn't wrinkled.
You was all pale and stuff.
No, I was a really pretty baby. I didn't even know that was me.
And I didn't say baby, I said newborn.
Yeah, I'm talking about a newborn. Like when you're in the hospital.
Sometimes their heads be smushed, like it be cones. Then sometimes
I
be
didn't have
swollen
that.
and bruised up. If they come out real fast, they be bruised. They face be blue on the side because they came out too fast. It's not cute. But anyway,
that wasn't me.
All newborns ain't cute.
Right. Y'all see how she came in?
Y'all gotta embrace the ugly in life. Everything can't be beautiful, y'all. Sometimes they even out in like 2 days, but they be coming out looking squishy and wet and pale. It's not cute all the time, okay? I'm sorry. Why the babies? Because it's making my point. You gotta get comfortable with sometimes stuff just don't be pretty, and it's all right. It even out after a little while, okay? He said ugly is only a concept I know outside of myself. I've had parents look at their newborns and say their baby was ugly, okay? And I was like, look, he gonna even out in like 2 hours. Just give it a minute. The baby was still wet. The heads all smooshed together. The cranial plates be all overlapping and stuff. It's all right, okay, y'all? Chill. That's my point. That's my closing word. Y'all chew on that for me, okay? Thanks.
Appreciate you, Brie. Ugly is only a concept I know outside of myself, because Conscious. What did he say? I'm the most wonderful human being that ever lived. I can't remember how he phrased it, but it was something.
Beautiful as fuck, though. I don't know. Conscious is beautiful. So he said that's how I look at the sex. Right. Some of y'all, okay.
Let me watch from the replay. Not the baby. I can't stand. Not the baby face loading. Man. All right. The Most High left. He left. He was watching from the corner, and then he left when it was his time to talk. So I appreciate all of y'all. We're gonna head on out. Everybody that came through in the chat, everybody that came through on the panel, appreciate all of y'all. Next week, I will not be doing 5 days of streams next week. I just want to set your expectations. I wish I had said this at the beginning of the show. I am not going to be doing 5 days of shows next week. After Bree cusses me out in Discord, it may be Tuesday, and I will be doing Thursday. So, we'll see. Tuesday, Thursday, expect something. Anything else, you may not see me. I want to get back to a middle ground. Instead of not showing up and showing up 5-6 days a week, I'm not doing either of those. I want to find something in the middle, 2 to 3 shows a week, maybe. I think that's the sweet spot. So I will see you guys Thursday for sure. Tuesday, I don't know if it'll be an ism or if it'll be a come on, ma'am. We'll figure that out. But I will see y'all sometimes next week. I hope you all have a wonderful, wonderful day. Don't shoot at the babies. Don't talk about how ugly the babies are. The babies are beautiful. You are welcome. And Nay, thank you for being here. Time for a nap. And yeah, honestly, with it being 3:30 in the afternoon, it's actually probably time to put the kids down to bed, right? Because we know how you get down. We know how you get down. But we are out of here, folks. I'll see y'all next time. I'm out.
God bless. God bless the food, goddammit. God bless the food. Now, I'm going to tell y'all something. I'm going to end this goddamn thing. Look, where's that goddamn money bowl at? Who got that money bowl? We taking that money right now before you leave this bitch. We ain't leaving out here for free, motherfucker. Where that money bowl at? Don't have any fire this bitch off now. Where that money bowl at? Don't you? Look, don't make me shoot it. All right. Officer Tuckerson already a dead motherfucker. I don't mind shooting another motherfucker. Oh, shit.
Amazing, 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 amazing.
Y'all don't care what your Alpha Male Podcast folks told you.
That certainly is one big self-assured ninja.
Well, Oshawa is a dime.
I'm looking for a dime. That's top of the line.